It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right, so if you guys can hear me okay, make sure you guys throw some ones in the chat, throw some thumbs up in the chat, throw some radiation emoji in the chat. It's good to see everybody in the building. As you guys come in, y'all already know what to do. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys hit the bell icon twice and share the stream out to your subscribers. That's right, Carlton. Long stream style. You know what I'm saying? We finna fuck up some content. Long stream style. Boing, oing, 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 oing. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, I see my man, my homie, Keep It 100 is in the building. Shout out to my man, Keep It 100, for continued success on his YouTube channel. Man, my man's channel is exploding. You know what I'm saying? He like damn near doubled his subscriber count in the last like 2 or 3 days, man. So shout out to my man, Keep It 100, for doing big things. Make sure y'all show him some love. Throw some 100s in the chat. Keep It 100. Put your channel link in the chat so that people can go check out your work. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Keep It 100 again. You know what I'm saying? We got Carla Lockhart in the building. We got my man Mike Mellis John in the building. B1, what's good with it, bro? We got my man Toy Man returns after a hot minute. What's up with it? We got my man Keep It 100, of course, in the building. We got my man Carlton Way in the building. What up with it, Carlton? We got Janesta Coleman. Shout out to Janesta Coleman. We got OG Patrice. Long time no see. What up with it, OG? What's good with it? Good to see you. We got the rebellious one in the building. So we got Black Queen Genius tonight. We got Al McCowan in the building. That's what's good. And we got Faith Enlightened up in here. What up with it, Faith? Good to see you. So we're going to be talking about some things, right? The title of this stream is that the word woke is a word that was repackaged, right? And the reason why that word was repackaged is because of projection, right? We got Don P in the building. What up with it, Don? We got Johnny Gibbs. You know what I'm saying? We got DSB. We got Tori and Rain. Man, a whole bunch of people up in here. I ain't even see all y'all come in. Shout out to my man Tori and Rain, too. If y'all ain't subscribed to my man Tori and Rain, please make sure you guys take a moment and subscribe to Tori and Rain's channel. Tori, and throw your channel link in the chat so people can go check you out. You know what I'm saying? Torian, actually, speaking of Torian, did a great video. All right. Torian did a video, and Torian does a lot of great videos. You know what I'm saying? But the most recent great video that Torian did was the reaction video to Mark Dice's video called The War on White People. All right. And I think that we've thoroughly proven that there is not really a war on white people. I completely disagree with that notion. The notion that I agree with is that there are a lot of white people at war with each other, but because of the cultural lack of accountability, these people have to project that animosity onto somebody else. There is no war on white people. White people going to war with each other, both parties will attempt to take each other's whiteness and say, well, these aren't really white people. And one example of that entire notion is this right here. Okay. How billionaire Pritzkers became key backers of quote unquote bail reform and gender affirming care. Now, we know that criminality is not a specifically black issue, but it's packaged politically as a black issue, right? And also, gender affirming care is absolutely not a black issue. That's a quote unquote gender issue, but that's included in the package of woke. All right. So now, if this quote unquote billionaire family named the Pritzkers is financially backing these kind of agendas, one could go out on a limb and say that they are using their money to fund what people would consider quote unquote woke agendas, right? If you guys agree with that statement, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to Lloyd Sky 9. What up with it, bro? Okay, so as you guys can clearly see, what kind of individual is this? This dude looks like You know, he looks like he might stand next to Al Capone when he gets out of the car. But if you guys know anything about those people, you know what I'm saying? Those people worked together, like Lucky Luciano and Bugsy Siegel. They weren't necessarily Italian, but that's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Call Obsidian Plays. What up with it? And shout out to Deneen. What up with it, Deneen? Good to see you. All right. So let's see what this Pritzker family is up to. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Let's get this out of the way. What ethnicity would we say the Pritzker family is? Toyman says he looked like Fred Flintstone. he kind of does, you know what I'm saying? He looks a little bit like Fred Flintstone mixed with Life with Louie. You know what I'm saying? He's like, hey, come on. You know what I'm saying? Somebody give me my cigar. I'll make you a deal that you can't refuse. All you got to do is just bend over and put a skirt on and put a wig on, and you can have a $33 million contract. You know what I'm saying? What size shoes you wear? I got a nice size cement shoes for you. You know what I'm saying? I got a nice pair of cement Jordans for you eggplants. You know what I'm saying? That's what he sounds. That's what his big ass look like. He says. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, depending on who you ask, members of the billionaire Pritzker family of Chicago are either the proud descendants of a financial genius who are doing good by funding progressive causes. Now, we all know that progressive is a similar code word to woke. Progressivism. What is progressive? When they show you progressive politicians, a lot of times, what do they look like? You know what I'm saying? What do they look like? Now, it's interesting. These are descendants of a financial genius, allegedly. Now, what makes this person a financial genius? Probably stealing or extorting long term and not getting caught, right? Because someone would go out on a limb and say, well, the people that created the United States are civil service genius, right? They're civil engineering geniuses because they created a long-standing, durable country that's still here today. Okay. Did they do it ethically? Is the country sustainable? Is everybody here getting treated fair? Shout out to DSB. What up with it? That's the question. But these are descendants of a financial genius. Now, if we trace how this family got their billions of dollars and we compare it to the average family, do you guys think that our families, these generations back, had the ability to amass billions of dollars? Or did we just squander all of our money away? You know, certain people, you know what certain people say about us? Have you guys heard the word on the street? Certain people say, family, you are too ill-minded to deal with finances. I said you are too ill-minded to deal with finances. I say you are too ill-minded to deal with finances. You got some people that say that kind of stuff. You're too ill-minded to deal with finances. Well, let me tell you guys something. If we're too ill-minded to deal with finances, what do you think ends up going on with the finances that are in the hands of the psychos and the descendants of psychos that started the United Snakes of America? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man, DJ Elmo. What up with it, bro? So now here it says, or a secretive dynasty who now back radical no bail laws and the transgender movement. So now when it comes to quote unquote no bail laws, or when it comes to quote unquote the transgender movement, are these things that would be considered quote unquote the war on the West? Shout out to Finance Man. What up with it, Finance Man? Are these things that would be considered under that blanket of part of quote unquote the war on the West? And if you guys ever see any videos titled the war on the West, that's just code speak. And what is that code speak for? It's code speak for what Mark Dice said out loud. Oh my God, there's all these black fingers pointing at me. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what that means. Now, here's my question. No bail laws and the transgender movement. How many people support both of those? If you guys support the no bail laws, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If you guys do not support no bail laws, give me a thumbs down. If you support the LGBTQ push, the LGBTQ agenda, I'm not saying if you do or don't accept LGBTQ people. I'm saying if you support the push and all of the legislation and all of the stuff going on in the media, also give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. And it's perfectly okay if you do. You're not going to get attacked. You're not going to get jumped. It's okay to disagree. Everybody doesn't agree with everything, and that's perfectly okay. Please just be respectful and have a logical rationale for why you do or don't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we got a good mix. You know what I'm saying? We got a good mix. Now, conservatives would sit here and say that these kind of things are a war on the West. These kind of things are a war against white people. But how can it be a war against white people when you have this guy that looks like an extra from The Sopranos as a financier of it, a $1 billion financier of it? You know what I'm saying? Finance man says your lane is the weather videos. You know, there's a place called Weather Vane Lane that's like real close to me. To be honestly, like it's one of my favorite places because that's where they used to have the dope bars at. But you know, Weather Vane Lane. So you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man DSB for cooking up videos and having his Weather Vane Lane. I ain't mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at it. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the most prominent member of the family is Governor J.B. Pritzker, a longtime Democratic activist and supporter whose net worth is about $3.6 billion. Okay? About $3.6 billion. Where did they get all this money from, guys? That's the question. Where did they get all this money from? How many people heard of this family before? If you guys have heard of this family, give me a thumbs up. If you guys haven't heard of this family, give me a thumbs down. Now, that's something that you guys should consider. If you haven't heard of this family, why is it that you haven't heard of them? And they got all that money. Right. You hear what Deneen said? Deneen said, good Lord, that's a lot of money. I know. Can I get a loan? Never mind. I don't want one from them. Never mind. I don't want one from them. If I ever get my YouTube channel to where I got PewDiePie money, you know what I'm saying? I'll give low interest loans to my subscribers. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want no loan from this fat bastard. You know what I'm saying? It says that his sister, ironically, his sister's name is Penny. You know what I'm saying? That tells you how cheap the family is. It's probably part of the reason why they got so damn much money. Was co-chair of former President Barack Obama's presidential campaign and later became his secretary for the Department of Commerce. This, despite her once serving on the board of Superior Bank, which the Pritzkers bought with $400 million in tax credits from the federal government. Man, these people out here that got 5 kids and only work 12 hours a week think they be getting tax credit. These people got $460 million in tax credits. But there's no such thing as privilege or anything like that. Let me ask you guys a question. How the hell do you calculate to get $400 million in tax credits? How do you get that damn much money in tax credits? How much money did you make? How much money did you make is the question. You know what I'm saying? Now, remember, these people worked with President Obama. So let me ask you guys something. If these people are working with President Obama and bankrolling the President Obama campaign, who do you all think President Obama is most likely to gear his political aspirations to appease. Remember, you got to pay to play. All money ain't good money. Shout out to Black Bitcoin Key. What up with it, bro? So if these people are bankrolling Obama is going to be turning over these people's dollars. So these people are knee deep in the money. You guys remember DuckTales? DuckTales. Woo! Y'all remember that? Y'all remember Scrooge McDuck doing the backstroke in that safe filled with all that gold? Y'all remember DuckTales? How many of y'all remember DuckTales? DuckTales. Woo! This dude is a real life Uncle Scrooge with all that money. A real life Uncle Scrooge. Yeah, don't act. Yeah, Carlton remembers. See, don't front. Don't act like y'all didn't watch DuckTales. Toyman Return said cucktails. There's a lot of that going on now with all the simping. You know what I'm saying? Since simping has become a cultural norm in the United States, there probably will be a cartoon by Disney called Cucktails pretty soon. Brittany Renner will probably be one of the animated voices on it. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the bank later collapsed after being one of the first to traffic in subprime mortgages. So they just bought a bank, then it collapsed. You know what I'm saying? It collapsed suddenly. Got to check and see what its immunization status is, right? You know what I'm saying? JB's cousin, Jennifer Pritzker, who is 72, a twice married parent of 3, was born to James Pritzker, is along with Martijn Rothblatt, one of the world's only 2 openly trans billionaires. So there's only 2 open trans billionaires, which is interesting. Huh. This person's name is Martijn Rothblatt. What does that sound like? Darkwing Duck. Let's get dangerous. Y'all remember that? Yeah, that's when them good cartoons was out. Tailspin. They had the nigga tailspin music. You know what I'm saying? That was back when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Shirtle. I said shirtle. Turtle power. Remember that? That was back in the day with them good cartoons, man. This shit nowadays is garbage. They have a damn Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle with a damn LGBTQ headband on now. You know what I'm saying? They have a rainbow headband if the Turtles came out nowadays. The Darkwing Duck. Remember Battletoads? Yeah, the Black Order. Heroes in the half shell. They're heroes in a half shell and they're green. Those are the good old days, man. So this woman right here, or this individual, this person, JB's cousin, Jennifer Pritzker, who is 72, a twice married parent of 3, who was born James Pritzker, is along with Martijn Rothblatt, one of the only 2 open transgender billionaires. So what I find fascinating is that certain people, they've made it an art to not only hide their ethnicity, but now it's become an art to hide your original gender. Yeah, Goof Troops. You know what I'm saying? Goof Troops was dope. She retired as a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army in 2001 after a 27-year military career and transitioned in 2013. What do you guys think about somebody with this much money transforming? Robots in disguise. Unlike the rest of her family, who have been diehard Democrats, Jennifer was a loyal Republican. All right. And a reliable donor to the GOP until she became disillusioned with the party in 2009. over what she saw as its anti-transgender agenda. Okay. So basically, one thing that you can get out of this article thus far, right, is that these people are giving money to both the Democrats and the Republicans. Shout out to N Major. Okay. Anthony Pritzker, and cousin to JB, and Jennifer, runs the Pritzker Group private equity firm and was the subject of a mini scandal where he and his wife bought and then demolished a landmark Bel Air home, irking their neighbors when they built a massive mega mansion in its place. He and his wife sold the property for almost $22 million in 2012 after finishing its construction. So we're doing the real estate thing, which is one thing that, people are known to do, right? Finally, Tom Pritzker, the governor's cousin and the CEO of the Pritzker organization, recently made headlines when he tried unsuccessfully to prevent the publishing of court documents relating to the late P. Jeffrey Epstein. Now, let's stop right there. Whoa. Oh. Yeah, I used to like Animaniacs too. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to my man Sean. If you guys have not smashed that like button, please make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not hit the bell icon to subscribe, make sure you guys hit the bell icon to subscribe and share the video out. All right. Shout out to Abby over on Twitch, and shout out to my man Steal My Beats. Okay. Super Mario Brothers show. Yeah, I like the Super Mario Brothers show. Remember, they used to have a Zelda episode on Friday, and then they changed it to Club Mario, and it got lame, and then it just ended up going off. I used to like Jason the Wheeled Warriors. That was one of my favorite cartoons ever. You know what I'm saying? Jason the Wheeled Warriors was dope. That shit was ahead of his time. Right, Crypto Key. That sure is Giselle. Who was Giselle married to? She was married to a football player, wasn't she? Wasn't it Tom Brady or something like that? Tom Brady tried to tell her, put your ring back on. She said, nope. She said, bye, bitch. Why would Tom Pritzker try and unsuccessfully prevent the publishing of court documents relating to the late P word Jeffrey Epstein? Why would anybody try to prevent publishing of court documents relating to Jeffrey Epstein? Why would somebody do that? Does that make any sense? Think about that. Why would somebody do that? Everybody knows how despicable and disgusting Jeffrey Epstein is and the things that he did and that he was involved in. But yet this individual here was invested in keeping the court documents confidential. Now, remember, I said that this dude was invested in this. These are people that don't spend their money on anything extra. That's one thing that we know. You know what I'm saying? These you ever seen those pennies that the trains run over and they're stretched out and flat? That's how they stack money together so that it doesn't get spent. We all know that. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to hide some of the other P words. Right. You're trying to hide your name from coming up. Right, Crypto Key. Right, Carlton. Or you're culturally invested because you know there's some elements of your culture that may shine through. Right? Tom was first named in documents unsealed in New York in 2019 as a number of prominent men, including former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, whom Epstein accuser Virginia, I think this is Giuffre, said she was directed to have sex with. The Miami Herald reported at this time. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Richard. Uh-oh. Now, if you guys recall, you guys remember Virginia Giuffre? I think that's how you say her name. She was one of the people that the Miami Herald did the expose on that started causing people to dig into the Epstein case. Shout out to my man, Sean Williams. Liked and shared suddenly. You know what I'm saying? Governor Pritzker, whom everybody calls JB, but whose real name is J. Robert, has been the governor of Illinois since 2019. The governor of Illinois. But for some reason, this guy is on a damn list that this woman, Virginia Giuffre, gave out. And when Virginia Giuffre was doing this, when Ghislaine Maxwell recruited Virginia, if I'm not mistaken, she was as young as 16 years old. She's in pictures all over the place with British royalty. Okay, do you guys know that? Jeffrey, that's how you pronounce it, Carla? Jaffrey, Virginia Jaffrey. Okay, Jaffrey, Virginia Jaffrey. When the stuff that the Miami Herald put out about Jeffrey Epstein, pictures with her and Ghislaine Maxwell, this woman here was about 16 years old at the time. She was a minor. Question then, how is this guy not in jail? That's my question. You see, the rabbit hole goes deep. That's why we doing this stream long stream style, because the rabbit hole goes deep. That's why we doing it long stream style. Boing, yoing, 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 yoing. You know what I'm saying? Facts, Sean, because the world is correct. And Toyman just proves it, right? Because he has more assets than the legacy media. He's probably got more assets than the legacy, GDPs of certain countries. And because when you have all those assets, basically you can buy reality. And when reality is for sale, it's just a simple math problem. Whoever pays the highest price. And if you can afford it, everybody else is sitting there watching because we know that the world is correct. And that's another thing too, DJ Elmo. He's got the complexion for the protection. Carlton laughing. Boing, yoing, 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 yoing. You know what I'm saying? And according to a number of people who know him, is expected to run for president. Did you guys know that? This guy, JB Pritzker, is expected to run for president in 2024 if Joe Biden declines to try a second term. If Joe Biden forgets, sleeps through the alarm clock. You know what I'm saying? Now look at this. JB's brother, Anthony Pritzker, above with Giselle and Barbara Streisand, drew ire when he bought then raised a Bel Air home to build a mega mansion in its place. He probably smashed Gazelle too, probably did all kind of weird stuff, because when it comes to particular people, they don't discriminate between men and women, and they'll do all kinds of weird stuff to anybody. And then they'll hold it over your head and start extorting you about the information or threaten to put out a video with them doing nasty stuff to you. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. Not saying that actually happened, but I'm just saying that it's a possibility. You know what I'm saying? This is a nice ass house right here. I need like as many YouTube subscribers as I can get so I can get me some shit like this. This is a compound right here. You know what I'm saying? This is dope. I will deliver you all some of the greatest content in the world from some shit like this. You know what I'm saying? So help your boy out. Share the video. You know what I'm saying? Gots to get me one of these. Because I'm telling you, it's YouTubers out there that got shit like this. You know what I'm saying? I have a live streaming studio set up in each, wing of the house. I'll have cameras, I'll make it where the security cameras can switch over to live streaming and we can do it podcast style. I have some shit out here on the beach. You know what I'm saying? You see, they got the tennis court over here, man. Hey, listen. That's dope. That's what that evil money will get you. Deneen says it looks like a hospital. I bet you many people have been there to get well. I don't know what kind of medical services they give, but I can guarantee you that many people have been there to get well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this shit got a damn helicopter landing pad and shit all over the place. This look like Autobot City. Jazz be like, Optimus Prime, where we supposed to park at? Well, Jazz, we need to protect all the humans from the evil Decepticons. But Prime, they got a swimming pool. You know, Jazz, shout out to Jazz. Jazz is one of the original FBAs, the foundational black Autobot. He'd be like, Prime, you know this stereotypical ass cartoon and I can't swim? That's why they made me a sports car with loud ass speakers. you know what I'm saying? Man, the racial undertones be thick. Them racial undertones be thick. DJ Elmo said, no wonder the neighbors complain. Can you imagine the noise during construction? The noise during construction was probably about the same as the noise during debauchery. The decibel level, at least. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to CCS. What up with the CCS? CCS said, whose house is this? This is JB Pritzker's house. Yeah, foundational black Autobots. You know, it was only two of them. It was Jazz and Blaster. You know what I'm saying? Jazz and Blaster. Everybody else was white. You know what I'm saying? It was just Jazz and Blaster. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jazz and Blaster. That's why they killed Jazz in the new movie. You see, Jazz made it. He had just barely made it. Oh, yo, shout out to TD Hip Hop Media. I didn't know. That's where the donations are, family. So I don't know if DeAndre is in here, but TD said that's TD's house in there. That's the TD Hip Hop Mansion. So, you know, if the mortgage payments on this, we definitely ain't getting no damn soundboard next episode of Just Talking. But maybe with this nice ass house, maybe TD was able to wire in some kind of nice doorbell sound effects. So when we have a party there, when you ring on the doorbell, it says, put your glasses back on. And then sometimes when you ring the doorbell, because it's alternating sounds, it'll say, somebody's at the door. You understand me? Yeah, get the door. You understand me? You know? Shout out to my man TD. If you guys are not subscribed to TD Hip Hop Media, or if you're not subscribed to Just Talking with TD and Rob, take a moment and subscribe to both of those channels. All right. So now we know the Anthony Pritzker and his wife sold the mansion for almost $22 million to TD Hip Hop Media. Okay. So now you know. I mean, that's that YouTube money, man. YouTube will make it rain on you. You know what I'm saying? But you got to get them views for that kind of money, though. You know what I'm saying? You can't be doing it like me out here. You can't have 100 likes and only get 300 views on a video. You got to get them long viewed styles. You know what I'm saying? You got to get them deep views. You got to get, like, you know what I'm saying, 1K plus to get in that club. So now here it says, I'm pleased to bring an end to a system where wealthy, violent offenders can buy their way out of jail, while less fortunate, nonviolent offenders wait in jail for trial, Pritzker said at the time. Now that's interesting because he's actually one of those wealthy offenders who kind of bought his way out of some scrutiny. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Janesta Coleman. She's putting the pressure on to make sure that we had that soundboard by next Just Talking. Make sure you guys throw some radiation emoji in the chat and show her some love. She popping off with the $5 super chat is the donation to the soundboard. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Janesta. So that soundboard, man, people holding us to it, TD. Watch, as soon as Just Talking come on, TD gonna be like, what's up, y'all? First of all, we was late because of Rob. Second of all, I gotta plug in my Ethernet cord. And third of all, family, the money gone. You know what I'm saying? You know? So now here it says, advocates and lawmakers came together to put in hours of work to strengthen and clarify this law, uphold our commitment to equity, and to keep people safe. But not keep people safe like Virginia Giuffre. New York and New Jersey have passed bail reform laws that do away with most cash bail. So now what these people, I want you guys to understand what's going on with these people right here, all right? These people right here have understand that they can form society by packaging things that they're interested in to feed their business needs in a black-skinned package and push those narratives in order to feed money to their businesses. Okay? Do you guys see that? Because that's what's going on here. Now, I want to ask you guys this question again. How many people support no cash bail? How many people support the quote unquote academy agenda? Not many of us. You know what I'm saying? But this is how these things get done. And if you don't think the conservatives and all these different groups of people know this, you're naive. But now, if you look at Mark Dice's video, Mark Dice says that these woke things that people like the Pritzker family are doing are an anti-white agenda. Don P says you got soundboards for sale. You're gonna have to get at us, bro. You're gonna definitely have to get at us. Hit my about page and find my other social media. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, though a judge ruled on December 28th that the Safety Act is unconstitutional for 65 counties that sued to stop its package, goes into effect New Year's Day for Chicago's Cook County, where crime has exploded in recent years, and 36 other counties that did not file suit. Now, here's the question. Are you now starting to understand why in Democrat areas the crime is so high? When you have people like the Pritzker family presiding over an area and they're utilizing blackface politics and blanketing unhealthy policy as something to help quote unquote black people, it makes sense why the area would be so risky. We're going to let all these felons and we're going to let all these different criminals just run wild and have their way. Well, if these people run wild and have their way, there's not going to be any law and order. Right? So now we see. But if you listen to the media, if you listen to the right-wing independent media, people like Mark Dice says that it's black fingers pointing at white people with a war on their way of life. Doesn't look like that to me. How many black people have the amount of funding that the Pritzkers have and are pouring it into anti-white agendas? Can anybody give me a number? So the anti-white dog whistle is basically just a poorly thought out excuse and a poorly thought out rationale to exercise the animal instinct of anti-black racism that is a part of their culture. There has to be an alleged justified rationale, and that's where it comes to be manufactured at. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys show some love. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat for Faith Enlightened with the $5 super chat. She says, you should be there, Rob, in high numbers, and we all know it. But your blessing is coming. Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. If I ever had that kind of support, you know what I'm saying, and that kind of finance rolling in, I'm telling you, you guys will get the best of the best of the best, sir. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Governor Pritzker's high-profile ambitions mark a departure for members of a multi-billion-dollar family empire who made it their business to stay out of the spotlight ever since the J patriarch Naphtali bin Yaakov Pritzker immigrated to Chicago from a ghetto in Kyiv, Ukraine, at age 10 in 1881. Man, we got a lot to unpack in that little amount of sentences. These were Ukrainian dim folks, just like Zelensky. These guys are Democratic donors. Do you wonder why Ukraine is getting so much money? Do we need to go over that sentence again? Let's go over that sentence again. Governor Pritzker's high-profile ambitions mark a departure for members of a multi-billion-dollar family empire who made it their business to stay out of the spotlight ever since the J patriarch Naphtali bin Yaakov Pritzker immigrated to Chicago from a ghetto in Kyiv, Ukraine at age 10 in 1881. He made nickels selling newspapers on the Chicago streets, put himself through law school, and founded the law firm Pritzker and Pritzker. Now, these people make it a part of their business and culture to stay out of the spotlight while funding hip-hop companies that show you to wear flashy chains that if you shine a flashlight, it'll reflect the light right off of them. You see how that works? What we'll do is we'll make our money one way, and then we'll manipulate another culture and foster that culture in of doing the exact opposite of what we've done, and then we'll use our expertise, which is the legal system, to not only eliminate that person from the payroll, but to take back all the assets that that person has ever made. That is also a cultural practice. You know what I'm saying? That is also a cultural practice. If you guys have not seen the live stream that I did a long time ago called The Rap to Prison Pipeline featuring Casanova, you guys should check that live stream out. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Nicholas' son, Abram, Harry, and Jack all joined the family law firm. So now we're talking about money passing hands, right? Passing hands within your own community, passing the money 6 times, right? Something that don't happen, right? You know what I'm saying? But it's something that we're trying to work for. We're trying to work towards that, right? So when I say it's something that don't happen, don't take it as I'm criticizing, right? Because if you ask me, like where we are in our area of history, we're on our own reconstruction, which is fine. When you're in reconstruction, you go through some bumps in the road. So that's what you see. You see bumps in the road. There's people fighting. There's gender wars. There's people that don't agree ideologically, but it's all coming to a common point. I like to believe, right? And so sometimes in order to get on the same page, you just got to have a fist fight. All friends fight at some point. You know what I mean? So, I try to look at these things. Okay, maybe it's just a temporary fist fight. One of the things that people agree on is that the money leaves out of the community so fast on a regular commerce basis, right? If you start a business and you employ members of your family, that is automatically community insulated money passing. If I have a son and a daughter and I start a business and my employees are my son and my daughter and my wife is the accountant, that's money passing from the community into my business, into my hands, into my son, daughter, and wife's hands. So you already have taken care of about 4 of those communal transactions right there, starting a family business. These people started a highly lucrative family business because it was a law firm. You see what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of these companies got these family names, right? Carla, like Pep Boys, Walmart, because of Sam Walton. You know what I'm saying? O'Reilly Auto Parts, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, Bush Beer, Anheuser-Busch. You know what I'm saying? These are family businesses. You know what I'm saying? So now these people are doing it, right? Nicholas' son, Abram, Harry, and Jack all joined the family law firm. This was probably determined on their 15th birthday at a party that certain people have in their community. You know what I'm saying? But those very same people will tell you that it's not necessary for you to concentrate on your culture while they're making world domination plans on their 15th birthday. But somebody will sit there and tell you that world domination is not the solution. Somebody will sit there and tell you not to embrace villainy. Somebody will tell you to sit there and be a hero and that the world is unfair and that the world's not correct. All of those are wrong. In a world where the heroes look like the people that owned your ancestors, in order to survive, you need to embrace villainy. You can't look at the world and say that the world is incorrect because there's a numeric set of rules and formula that govern how everything around us move. Whether you believe in the laws of physics or whether you believe in the Fibonacci sequence, whatever it is that you believe in, all steps are calculated. You know what I'm saying? They're all calculated. Okay? And they're all calculated not by us. However, we can understand the patterns of how these calculations work and use the understanding of that pattern to our advantage in order to make moves that make sense. These people will tell you not to pay attention to any of that because as long as you're off balance, they can benefit from your disequilibrium. If everybody is confused and you understand everything, you have the best seat in the house. Okay? These people are not confused because at 15, they've decided their way in which they plan to individually dominate the world. And when you see something like Abram, Harry, or Jack collaborating to join the family law business, that's a collaborative domination. You see what I'm saying? That's a collaborative domination. This happens. But the firm eventually branched out into business, using family money to invest in local real estate companies and other firms. Now, if there's a high crime area, does that make the real estate more expensive or does it make it less expensive? That's the question. If you are looking into purchasing commercial real estate, where can you get that real estate for the best price? In a high crime area or a low crime area? Facts. Shout out to everybody that's answering the question. Crime drives the price down. Why do you think these people are all up and in the politics of Democratic areas? Why do you think that they want to have no bail? If you flood the streets with criminals, you drive the price of the areas surrounding down. Purchase up all that land for cheap, and then you put your government funding into a war on crime, clean up the area, and gentrify it. I mean, this is the same playbook that these people have been running since day one. So that is why you see them at the forefront of all of these high crime areas. But the media won't talk about that, though. The media won't say, well, who's running these areas? You know who the face of Illinois is? Despite the fact that Lori Lightfoot is only the governor, or she's only the mayor of Chicago, she's the face of Illinois. Now, you see, when it comes to Florida, Governor DeSantis, the governor, is the face of the state. But in Chicago, Lori Lightfoot is the face. In New York, Eric Adams is the face. Kathy Hochul's not the face in New York. If I asked you what the person looks like, that's the governor of Illinois, I bet you most people couldn't tell you. Is that an accident? Or is that a strategy? That's the question. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys show some love. Throw some extra radiation emojis in the chat for Faith and Light and holding it down with the $50 super chat. She says, do a video about nonsense on mass shooters, non-race hate related. We always hear the hate crime BS, but here in Cali, it's been including one yesterday that was Asians killing Asians. A bit off topic, but just showing how things are not put out as it seems. Oh, I absolutely. I will definitely look into that because I was actually having a conversation with Torian about that. You know what I'm saying? And during our conversation, it came out that mass shooter was a member of the AAPI community. You know what I'm saying? But before they found out who it was, they tried to lie and they tried to say that it was a hate crime. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be on these kind of things. So now here it says they made the family law practice into an in-house anchor for deal making that fueled their burgeoning family empire. So now, do you see what they did here? What did they do here with their business? They made the family law practice into an in-house anchor for deal making that fueled their burgeoning family empire. Do you see how they utilized one business to start another business? Yeah, facts, Abby. They set up shop. That's exactly what they did. They set up shop. And because they have a expertise in the legal area, it's easy for them to be able to circumvent any kind of scrutiny that people may have of their business. Well, I'll have you know. They can just, I'll have you know. Well, I'll have you know. We run a medium-sized law firm in Illinois. You don't really want to mess with us. Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me just sit my ass down somewhere then. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not smashed that like button, please make sure you guys take a moment to smash that like button. Also, if you're not subscribed, hit that bell. And also, please share the videos out. All right. To your Facebook, to your Twitter. Okay. So now look at this. Deep within the government. Who is that? You guys recognize this guy right here? Look at that. They've been in this business. Now, when they talk about establishment Republicans, when they talk about establishment Democrats, this is what that looks like. The quote unquote big corporate shadow money. You know what I'm saying? That's that big corporate shadow money. And when they say the big corporate shadow money, that right there is one of the reasons why this particular family stayed out of the limelight. Yeah. Shout out to Carlton, big homie Ronald, not McDonald. A finance man says, what is AAPI? Anybody in the comment section want to help finance man out and let him know what AAPI means? Carla Lockhart says, and now they are calling for high alert in areas with high AAPI like Philadelphia. Facts. Facts. Super facts. Super facts. So now here it says, but most Pritzker observers say Nicholas' grandson, Jay Pritzker, was the financial wizard who turned the family into a powerhouse dynasty. Jay Pritzker entered the University of Chicago as a freshman at 14 and graduated from Northwestern at 19 with a Bachelor of Science degree. He later graduated from Northwestern Law School in 1945 at age 25. So do you see this flex right here? He was able to enter the University of Chicago as a freshman at age 14. Then he graduated from Northwestern with a bachelor at age 19. So at these ages, you graduated with your bachelor's at age 19. Then you graduate with a Juris Doctorate degree at age 25. You got the whole rest of your life to start on a business and amass wealth. No, he's from Ukraine. This family is from Ukraine. They're part of the quote unquote J community. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the story goes that Jay, who had a quote unquote Rain Man type of financial acumen, decided to buy the first of what would become the International Hyatt hotel chain in 1957. When it comes to the time periods of 1947 and 1957, what were Black people allowed to buy in the United States? That's my question. Was there laws that restricted Black people from buying things in the United States? Were there laws that restricted Black people from going to school in the United States? Now, there's an interesting dynamic that happens with these particular people because the Republicans and the Democrats will say, well, these people are also a model minority because these people are a minority that quote unquote overcame quote unquote hardship, right? Okay, you overcame quote unquote hardship. Did you overcome hardship? Were you restricted in your purchasing ability? Were there laws against you moving into particular places? Were freeways ran through where you were starting to build first and second generational wealth through real estate? Did any of that occur? So all of these things are things that occurred, right? But these are things that people do not want to acknowledge. It's not our fault that people don't want to acknowledge this stuff. It doesn't have anything to do with us. The fact is that this stuff happened. You know what I'm saying? So he got into college early, graduated early, started a business early, probably got a nice lump sum from his family early. So now here it says, while drinking a cup of coffee at Fat Eddie's at LAX, Pritzker noticed that Fat Eddie's was a very busy coffee shop and the hotel in which it was housed had no vacancies. The hotel, which happened to be for sale, was named after its owner, Hyatt Van Den. Pritzker made an offer on the spot, scribbling $2.2 million on a napkin. How many black success stories of this magnitude are even possible? How many black people were in this position back then is the question. And if they weren't in this position back then, is it because they were having babies committing crimes and not contributing to society? That's the question. Or was it because of legal red tape, Jim Crow, black codes, and redlining? Political objectives to move black people from place to place. That's the question. Okay. So now here it says he and his brother Robert went on to build a big family corporation called Marmon, now a Berkshire Hathaway company that had interests in casinos in Las Vegas, Lake Tahoe, and Atlantic City, along with Ticketmaster, Braniff Airlines, Levitt's Furniture, pharmaceutical companies, cruise ship lines, janitorial supply firms, and a maker of circumcision devices. Imagine that. Now, if that's not a cultural business, I don't know what is. And I'm against circumcisions, by the way. I'm against forced circumcisions. Now, is it possible for a black person to have a success story like this during these time periods? Is my question. That's the question. An acquaintance of the Pritzker family who did not want to be identified remembers walking into a business event years ago with Jay. The Pritzker family exemplifies how private interests can weaponize numerous industrial complexes on local, national, and international levels. Well, when you understand the laws, you do it in a way so that it can't be determined that it's illegal, right? So that's why you get a family of lawyers to start enterprises such as this. Right? Right, Sean. Facts. And shout out to Carla for answering the Nightbot. Now, the Pritzker family exemplifies how private interest can weaponize numerous industrial complexes on a local, national, and international level. Former LGBTQ activist Kay Yang, who now runs the site Stop Female Erasure, said that. So this person, Kay Yang, went from an LGBTQ activist to a Stop Female Erasure activist. Females kind of signed on for their own erasure by backing the replacement efforts. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like feminism and LGBTQ work hand in hand. And people try to say that, and the women are the loudest voice with the accusations of misogyny. So now that people see what's going on, there's a lot of women in a situation where they now seeing that the world is correct. Who knows if it's too late or not? You know what I'm saying? He took one look at the group and said, there's no way, there's no money to be made here. Turned around and left. The friend told the Post. That was Jay. Jay died in 1999 at age 76. Today, look at this. Today, the Pritzker name is visible all over Chicago, including J. Pritzker Pavilion, the University of Chicago's Pritzker School of Medicine, the Pritzker family's Children's Zoo, and more. Yet and still, when it comes to Chicago, black people and Lori Lightfoot are blamed for the condition of Chicago. Think about that. Think about that, guys. The Pritzkers have the sense of being noble, but not noblesse oblige, Rothbard said. They want to make genuine changes for the best for the community. They have a 24-hour work ethic, whether it's their businesses or their quote-unquote charities, but they are very private. They've always played it very close to the vest. What separates them from a lot of other dynasties is that they have moved very quietly under the radar as much as possible. Now, here, as you can see, the New York Post is giving them kudos for that. But in most cases, we know that that's kind of a shady way to move, right? That's kind of a shady way to move, isn't it? So now here it says, but the Pritzkers have recently come under fire for how they're using their money. A lengthy investigation by Tablet Magazine earlier this year detailed the labyrinth funneling millions of Pritzker family money into universities, medical schools, gender clinics, and nonprofits in support of transgenderism and what is called gender-affirming medical care, and the controversial treatment that critics say encourages youth to undergo transition surgery or take puberty blockers without first going through adequate therapy. So people of this culture are doing this. You know what I'm saying? They're doing that. And this is why Mark Dice made a video with a bunch of black fingers pointing at white people, but these don't look like black fingers. You know what I'm saying? DJ Elmo says the family sounds like a crime family. Yeah. They sound exactly like a crime family. Shout out to Tia. What up with it, Tia? Okay. So now here it says Governor Pritzker has also signed off on transgender legislation, in essence, making gender affirming care the law in Illinois. In 2019, the state's Medicaid program began covering gender affirming surgeries for its members. Now, let me ask you guys this. Does the amount of money that these people have to offer for political objectives, does that have anything to do with why these things are going through so easily? If it does, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't, give me a thumbs down. If you have money, you can virtually buy policy. And these people are living proof of it. Now, there's something else that I want you guys to pay very close attention to. What word has not been used throughout this entire article? Now, there's a lot of words in the English language, and I know that's kind of a difficult and possibly unfair question for me to ask, but I'm asking it anyway. What word has not been used to describe any of this in this article? You guys know? You guys got any guesses? I'll give you a hint. That might make it a little bit easier. The word that I'm thinking of that hasn't been used, it begins with a W and it ends with an E. Shout out to Steal My Beats. Woke. Now, that's fascinating because all of this stuff is considered quote unquote woke. But they have yet to describe any of this stuff in this article as woke. Now, here's the question. Why not? Why haven't they? This should be an article titled "Woke Liberal Millionaires Attacking White America." But that's not how they titled it. Why not? Now, what I want to know is how many black people are funding agendas with this amount of money? White people say that woke is an attack on whiteness. Okay. Show me a comparable black millionaire, billionaire family that's directing all their resources to policy changes like this, quote unquote, to quote unquote attack quote unquote whiteness. Who's doing it? Where's it at? Who are the people? You know what I'm saying? Where's it coming from? Better question. Why aren't these outraged people doing streams like this, talking about this? Right? Why ain't they doing that? So now here it says last year he also passed the Youth and Health Safety Act, a new sex education bill that follows the standards of a left-wing interest group called CICUS, whose current standards call for teaching 5-year-olds about gender identity and instructing 8-year-olds on how hormone blockers prevent puberty in transgender identifying preteens. This is what they're spending their money on, ladies and gentlemen. Did you all vote for this? Here's a question for everybody that's watching this stream. If you voted for this, give me a thumbs up. If you did not vote for this, give me a thumbs down. Okay. And again, if you voted for it, it's okay. You're not going to get attacked. I just want to know because we're doing numbers here. And regardless of if some people did or didn't vote for this, my assumption is going to be that the majority of people did not vote for this as part of their political platform. That's going to be my assumption. But a lot of those people who voted and voted blue, no matter who, you just added fuel to the tank of these kind of agendas. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, and look at that. Who is that? Look at that. Look at that. Y'all recognize that? Who is that? That's another one of the big homies, Carlton. Which big homie is this? With the shovel. I've been working on the railroad. Look at him looking like the kingpin, looking like Wilson Fisk. Jennifer Pritzker's personal foundation, Tawani, leverages her chunk of the family's vast fortune to make pro-transgender grants to university. The ACLU, GLAD, and smaller activist groups. Now, I wonder what a roster of these smaller activist groups are. Let me ask you guys a question. How much money do you all think the Pritzker family gave to BLM in Chicago? Yeah, that's the big homie Barry. Shout out to Barry the fairy, who's yellow like a canary. You know what I'm saying? And Auntie Michelle, the first lady from hell. You know what I'm saying? Even the University of Chicago's Pritzker School of Medicine now offers a class claiming to teach a new generation of doctors how to fight misinformation in the medical field, including alleged falsehoods about gender-affirming hormone care. What are those alleged falsehoods? Well, we're going to teach you about all the falsehoods of hormone care. What are they? What are the falsehoods? Does anybody know? What are the falsehoods? So now here it says activist Kay Yang, who worked at an LGBTQ center in upstate New York in 2012, said that she traced the early gender ideology funding at the center, some of which paid for her job, to groups like GLAAD, one of the many left-wing G rights groups that Jennifer Pritzker's foundation has long donated to. See, Carlton, she long donated style. You know what I'm saying? Yang said she eventually quit her position, which she claims entailed going to high schools and middle schools to indoctrinate indoctrinate students in gender ideology before there was much awareness of it, and now runs a site called Stop Female Erasure. And make no mistake, when it comes to this particular site and this Asian woman here, she's talking about stopping white female erasure. Okay. White people are the only people that feel that they have a right to exist. Everyone else is expendable. So anytime you hear anything about we will not be replaced, in erasure, men's rights, anything like that, you can always assume that there's an unspoken white in front of that. Okay? Don't ever assume that any of that stuff is including you, because people find out the hard way that the world is correct. And then that's how you get the Major League Baseball. Then you get the Black Negro League, you get the NBA, and then you get the Harlem Globetrotters. Racism doesn't exist today. You get the manosphere, then you get the Black manosphere. Nothing they do is ever inclusive, ever. These are the people that have a culture of exclusion while including themselves in whatever they want to on anybody else's property in everybody else's business. Yeah, they be on that we're in this together as men. Yeah, right. Like the jails, right? Like the prison system. They'll sit there and say we're all in it together as men, except for the fact that we're the prison guards and you all are the inmates. We're all on this planet together as one race, except for the fact that, you know, you people are the lower class and we're the affluent asset holders. But we're all in it together, of course. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The slogan, "We won't be replaced," is code word for fear of genetic annihilation. Yeah, facts. Super facts. So the thing that I don't understand is that these people pride themselves on freedom of speech and are free to speak however they want to speak, but they hide behind code words because of cultural cowardice. I mean, just say what's on your mind and keep it a buck. You know what I mean? Say what's on your mind and keep it a buck. Right? The Pritzkers are teaching children and adults that they can be opposite sex and these surgeries can be safe and effective. Yang, who was 36, told the Post. They are in the business of social change. So this business of social change, quote unquote, wokeism, quote unquote, woke, right? White people consider that, quote unquote, anti-whiteism and a war on white people. I haven't seen a Black Pritzker yet. Have you all? Probably because the Pritzker family calls Black people Schwarzes and will oust any Pritzker that comes home with a Black spouse. Because that's also a cultural value. Most non-Black people have a culture of ostracizing people in their culture who are mixed or involved with Black people, because that's just what they do. That is how culturally degenerate and racist most non-FBA people are. Even other Black people. You hear all these stories about these Somalian women and these Nigerian women, and their parents say, don't come back home with no akata. So it doesn't matter. We're dealing with chocolate-covered white supremacists too. You know what I'm saying? That's why people got to examine these people, do content on them, pick everything that they say apart, because you got to have all the data to be able to move properly. You know what I'm saying? You got to have all the data to be able to move properly. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says there's a lot of money from gender ideology, but they are erasing women and medicalizing children in the process. And again, when they talk about female erasure, they're talking about white women. If they were worried about female erasure, then they would get all of the Planned Parenthoods out of black neighborhoods. But remember, it's people like the Pritzkers that fund Planned Parenthood. People like the Pritzkers donated to Margaret Sanger. People like the Pritzkers are Democrats. If you're voting blue, no matter who, you're voting blank, no matter who. Them folks. You know what I'm saying? The Pritzker family exemplifies how private interests can weaponize numerous industrial complexes, medical, military, and nonprofit complexes. They are weaponizing them on a national, local, and international level. Now, here's my thing. That's what we need to do. Shout out to Italia Phillips. Abby said she wishes that I would do these on Clubhouse. You know, I just bought a new headset. I don't be feeling like going on Clubhouse though. But you know what? I might do it. I might actually do it. One of these days. I got to get some free time. You know what I'm saying? Look at the Pritzkers, man. The Pritzkers don't be doing stuff for free. You know what I'm saying? I ain't about to get paid on Clubhouse. I'm gonna at least get a couple pennies for doing a YouTube video. I might get 50 cents by the end of this video if after YouTube take out all the money. I ain't gonna get nothing on Clubhouse except banned. You know what I'm saying? But the bots put in the links to my other social media. So make sure you guys follow me on all my other social media platforms. And also make sure you guys follow my backup channels. DJ Elmo ain't ever lied. Super facts. In Brooklyn. If you guys agree with DJ Elmo, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. So now here it says Dan Proft, a conservative Chicago political commentator, now based in Florida, who co-hosts a talk show on AM 560, got a campaign contribution from Jennifer Pritzker before she transitioned for his own gubernatorial campaign in 2010. Proft ran as a Republican but lost in the primary. Proft said he knows the person many still call the Colonel well. In 2022, Proft organized a $35 million super PAC to fight J.B. Pritzker's gubernatorial bid and support his challenger, Darren Bailey, but Proft remains sympathetic to Jennifer. I spoke to him a lot, Proft told the Post, referring to Jennifer and using her birth pronouns. I think Jennifer is a philosophical and idealistic person for the most part. I know that they say the transgender industry is supposed to be a $5 billion industry. $5 billion, ladies and gentlemen. But I don't think she's in it for that. I think others are, but just in a transactional way. They want power and influence, and the transgender stuff is the leftist zeitgeist. Okay. So how many people knew that this industry was a $5 billion industry? A $5 billion industry. So now if this industry is a lucrative $5 billion industry, Does it make sense why people are scrambling to try to control the future of this? Does it make sense? Yeah, but they won't pay out reparations checks. Facts. And they never will. And the reason why they won't is because they don't need to. None of these people, quote unquote, need to. If there was a force that caused them to need to, then they would. You see what I'm saying? And when I say if there was a force that made them need to, that means the right type of pressure being applied. So far, it's arguable that the right kind of pressure has not been put forth yet. And the reason why I say that is because we haven't seen any checks written. Now, the thing that's interesting, though, is what you see is a democratic effort to attempt to repackage the reparations narrative, right? But if the Democrats do it, what's going to end up happening is it's just going to be another stimulus package. It's just going to be another stimulus package. Okay? Just like what's going on in New Hampshire. In New Hampshire, all of the articles that have come out about the reparations effort in New Hampshire that are being drafted up by the Latino mayor there, it shows how white people will be getting quote unquote reparations. Right? So as long as we're not in control or writing and signing our own check, it's arguable that it'll be done properly, especially with all the evidence that we have, like the benign neglect memorandum. You know what I'm saying? We know what time it is. Shout out to Faith and Light. And Faith says, don't say that or I'm gonna stop giving super chats. I support you, and I know that YouTube takes a percentage, but if you're not getting a higher percentage, that's not fair. I'm supporting you and not taking away from you. Nah, I know, I'm just playing. I'm just talking crap. If you guys ever want to, though, bypassing YouTube, you guys can hit that Patreon link, or you guys can hit the PayPal and Cash App links as they come into the chat. You know what I'm saying? So now here, the thing is, it says they are classic politicians, Prof added. They are going to where the energy is. They want to be the primary financiers of left-wing activism. So all roads of leftivism leads back to the Pritzkers. So if white conservatives are aware that all left-wing activism leads back to the Pritzkers, why is Mark Dice putting black fingers on his video thumbnail saying that there's a war against white people? You know what I'm saying? Why is that? Yeah, that's facts. And Carla, Barack Obama paid them reparations too. You know what I'm saying? So now, Finance Man says black people cannot stick together in America. People not sticking together is not a problem that's unique to black people. Literally every single group of people infights. That's just like saying, well, you know, black people die here in America. Everywhere on the planet, people die. One thing that we got to do is stop attributing negative human traits to ourselves and act like it's something that happens to us because we're black. I just watched Professor Black Truth's video that he did about Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire and Steven Crowder. You got white people infighting. The political party is white people infighting, the liberals and the conservatives. The United States was founded on white people infighting, the British and the people here. The United States is the result of a series of white on white gang wars. I don't understand why. And look what white people did by fighting each other. They came up with the United States of America. Look what white people do currently while fighting each other. They hold the House of Representatives and the Congress and chambers, liberals and Republicans. Look at Antifa and Proud Boys fighting in Oregon. I don't understand why we pathologize, quote unquote, we fight. Are you aware of the motorcycle gang rivalries, the 1% motorcycle gangs? Are you aware of what happens to a Hell's Angel if they drive through an outlaw territory, or outlaws if they drive through a Hell's Angels territory? So my question is, why do we do that? Why do we do that? If we look at us and people say we fight, right? And then we look at other people and we see how they fight. Now we have to say, well, these are two things that these different groups of people have in common, but we're still having other difficulties. So clearly, if we fight and other people fight and we're having different difficulties, then the fighting must not be the problem. So how does that work? Finance Man says white people or anyone other race will stick with each other for the most part, even if they're fighting. What are your examples of that? Where do white people stick with each other for the most part, even if they're fighting? Where does that happen at? Is that going on in Ukraine right now? Did that happen during World War II? Did that happen during World War I? Did that happen during the Middle Ages? Is that going on right now with the Democrats and the Republicans? Where are some examples of that? Where's the examples of white people having a unified front in every situation? It should be easy to name examples and events. People of all races infight. People inside of families fight. White people kill their own families at a higher rate than anybody else. We just saw in the content yesterday that white men commit the most familicide. That's not sticking together when you have a conflict, and that's within your own family. In most cases, within the same family, right? So my thing is, black people infight and white people infight. However, there's other issues that black people have that are slowing down progress. But I don't think that the infighting is the major issue because everybody infights. That's all I'm saying. But what I'm interested in is I'm interested in the instance where white people stick together at all times. If white people stuck together at all times, couldn't we argue and say that we would be a country that has one political party? The reason why we have two political parties is because those political parties don't get along. And within those political parties, we had those political parties fighting. We have the MAGA Republicans, we had a Freedom Party, we had a Tea Party, we had establishment Republicans. And then on the Democrat side, we got the progressive Democrats, we got the socialists, right? So even within the political parties that are supposed to be unified, they don't even get along on a united front. So my thing is, it's not really wise of us to attribute negative traits to ourselves that are something that happen with everybody, right? If it's a human trait, we have to look at it as a human trait. And if it's something that you can see in common with other people, then it's just like in math, it's a least common denominator. You factor that out and move on until you find what's different between the two items being compared. So now Finance Man says, I did not say white people stick together at all times. Everyone fights. However, from what I have seen from experience, white people or other races will stick with their race, then turn on its own. Where do you see that at? Is John Brown an example of white people sticking with his race? Is what the mustache guy did in Germany in the 1940s, him sticking with his race? In his deluded mind, it was, but we all know genetically that is not. What about the war in Ukraine? Again, what about Antifa versus the Proud Boys? What about the 1% motorcycle gangs fighting? In what situations do these people stick with each other all the time? Or, well, I shouldn't say all the time, but in what situation do these people stick with each other? What's the experience? I've seen black people stick with their race. Everybody has coons. Everybody has human helpers. Everybody has traitors. The fact is that people do those kind of things, and of course, it would affect things negatively. Do you know that during COINTELPRO, they infiltrated white supremacist gangs too? They infiltrated the KKK. I saw a documentary that had David Duke featured in it, and he was talking about the character that played him in that movie Black Klansman. And he talked about how the KK, the very first group that was infiltrated by COINTELPRO was a white supremacist militia called, if I'm not mistaken, the Minutemen Militia. And that was coming from the white government. And they clearly didn't stick together because they had some snitches. Look at the mafia. The saying, snitches get stitches, and putting people in cement shoes came from mafia snitches. Right? So I'm just curious, where are these instances? I think, Finance Man, one thing that you might kind of be alluding to as quote unquote people not sticking together is the decision to for secondary support, right? There's red pill content creators, you know what I'm saying? And there's black red pill content creators, and there's white red pill content creators. The decision that many people may make to push a platform like Just Pearly Things to 1 million subscribers, while a lot of the black male content creators can barely get to 10,000, somebody may say, well, that's black people not supporting other black people. That's one instance. And that's also a personal choice. Those are decisions that those individuals make that they need to be held accountable for. It's the same thing with females. A lot of females watch female empowerment content. If there's some white feminist, you know what I'm saying, that YouTube just decides to push 1 million subscribers to, and there's a black female that a lot of people like and they're popular, and they choose to engage in the other content creator, that's a choice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. See, I like, yeah, and see, like, that's what I'm saying. My thing is, it don't matter if she puts in work or not. There's black male content creators that make content specifically for black men. And Just Pearly Things doesn't make content specifically for black men. She actually kind of uses caricatures. You know what I mean? She's not really your friend like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you've seen all of her content or seen who she does content with, but she's not really your friend. Her ex-boyfriend found that out the hard way, and so did that coach that she Me Too'd. Now, after she Me Too'd her black coach, did she apologize for her misandry to him? If I'm not mistaken, she doubled down on the claims against her coach. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of black men that support her. Ain't nothing wrong with supporting, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, you can't ask a question about one certain thing, right? And then wonder why that thing happened. Her volleyball coach. If I'm not, it was either her volleyball coach or her basketball coach. If you type into the YouTube search, Just Pearly Thing, Me Too, she's talked about it live on people's streams. Me neither. Now, if you're supporting somebody primary, right, and then you say, you know, I'm gonna support her. All right, whatever, as long as you supporting your primary person first. But a lot of people are supporting her. Now she got 1 million subs. So now she can, now that she built 1 million subs off of all the simps, now she can go where she really wants to go, like on Tim Pool, like on Steven Crowder. Have a conversation with Matt Walsh after stealing all of Kevin Samuels' talking points, setting up a nice studio like Kevin Samuels, doing the members only live streams like Kevin Samuels. People move with a flat learning curve. And if you move with a flat learning curve, you can't expect results to change. You have to understand that the world is correct and what you're seeing is what you're creating. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I agree she's using men. And my question is, what are men using her for? You're definitely not using her for no eye candy. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like she's sitting up there looking sexy, doing sexy shit, busting it open in a yoga pose while giving red pill advice. Are you serious? No. It wouldn't have taken her that long to get 1 million subscribers if she was doing all that. She's doing the same thing that people like Officer Tatum do, but she's doing it on the gender side. It's like 50 Cent said, I'll tell a bitch whatever they want to hear. So in this case, the men are the bitches, and she's telling men whatever they want to hear. You know what I mean? And Major says she probably CIA. Men using her for the support that they need. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of male content creators that provide that kind of support. So the question that you got to ask is, what is it about the males that they don't want that kind of support from other men who they can relate to? You know what I'm saying? And see, and here's my thing, Sean. I'm not even mad at people that support white people. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're supporting somebody that's productive, that you're actually getting a valuable product out of, and as long as you are supporting your businesses at an appropriate rate. Like I said, you can compare that with the Just Pearly Thing situation, right? Like I said, I don't have a problem with people supporting her, but when you're a black male content creator and you're creating that same kind of content and your subscriber base is pushing that person into the algorithm, you can't sit there and say you're being shadow banned when it's all of your subscribers who are making this other person pop. You know what I'm saying? So now if you look at Jess Pearly things and you see she's anti-reparation, you know what I'm saying? She deals with a lot of anti-black people. She was on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. I mean, is that really the person that you want to support? After you've supported all of your black content creators that you like and value, and you got a little bit of spare change, you say, okay, I'm gonna look to some other people to support them. Is this the person that you gonna actually support? You know what I mean? But here's my thing, finance man. In my personal life, I do get the support, and it's because I choose my circle. You see my subscribers, a lot of my subscribers are day one subscribers when I didn't have nobody watching my streams. And I support a lot of people that came out of nowhere on YouTube and blew up. My man, Keep It 100, is in the process of blowing up right now. I've been messing with him since before he even started a YouTube channel. My man, Moxie Approved, I messed with him before he even had 1,000 subscribers. Your boy AQ, I known AQ since before he was monetized. You know what I'm saying? Look at all the members that I have. Do you notice one thing about my streams? I don't take a lot of extra time saying hit the Cash App or hit the Super Chat. We joke about it. The members that I have and the people that supply me Cash Apps and supply me Super Chats do it because they want to, not because they're pressured or guilted into it. And because they want to, that shows that they support. And the reason why is because I have a very supportive inner circle of people. You got to choose your circle. If you see people and they have negative attributes and they have negative aspects, don't try to make yourself acceptable to those people. Keep accepting yourself, and eventually you will find people who are like you. You know what I'm saying? Look at TD. TD let me come onto a live stream way back in the day on TD Hip Hop Media, way back in the day when I didn't have no subscribers. I think it was just like DJ Elmo and U-Law up in here. You know what I'm saying? Finance Man says, not you personally, but from what you see around you, I'm your day one supporter too. And I appreciate you, bro. This is what I was talking about with the stick together. Now, see, but you can see that stick together thing over here. You know what I'm saying? You can see that stick together thing in certain circles. Now, what you might notice is that there might be some fighting in other circles. But again, that's why you got to choose your crowd. And I can't sit here and lie and say I've never seen black people fight ever. That's not true. Like I said, if I sat here and said that black people didn't fight, I would be lying. Right? But it's very contingent on who you hang around. Jay the Informant said Blacklight don't have no support. I'm here hate watching. Jay ain't lying either. My man Jay ain't lying. Yeah, everyone fights. It's normal. But you know what though, finance man? That's a good point that you bring up, is that everyone fights and it's normal, right? It is. I agree 100%. We tend to focus on a lot of stuff that we do and put ourselves under a different set of scrutiny than other people put themselves under. Now, I want you to know this. I don't have no problem with you giving me pushback in the comment section. If you disagree, like I've always said, I'm not gonna roast anybody. I'm not gonna go in on anybody. I'm not gonna disrespect you if you disagree. You know what I'm saying? Because my platform is a platform where I want to be able to talk about things that I want to talk about and also have discussions. If you read the description, it says we discuss interesting topics. So it's never going to be, I'm just going to come at you hard because I don't agree with you, right? So I hope you don't feel that I've been disrespectful or overly aggressive in entertaining your comments, all right? But what I want to say is that what you should do is you should go and subscribe to Hip Hop Cartoons and check out each and every one of the Neely Fuller Jr. videos. And Neely Fuller Jr. has a unique perspective on how we tend to look at each other. You know what I'm saying? We got another hate watcher over here. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my hate watchers. I actually had trolls that bought memberships. We're Fart Boy and we live on the table 7 with they crazy asses. You know what I'm saying? Y'all try not to be disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Because I want people to be able to like have diffused conversations. Yeah, hip hop cartoons. My man Lito, my man Carlito runs that YouTube channel. And Neely Fuller Jr. He chops up Neely Fuller Jr. Lectures, and he makes animations and puts them to the Neely Fuller Jr. lectures. It's actually really good content. You should check it out. Yeah. Yeah, y'all remember when I know Bronze God remember. You remember when Fart Boy had the membership? He had a different name though. I think his name was Tony Esposito back then or something like that. Yeah, he had a whole membership and shit. Like I'm telling you, man, people be invested in trolling. Yeah, check him out. You know what I'm saying? Check him out. Al said, I told you, Rob, my nickname is Bo. That's hilarious. So now, and there we go. We at the end of the the article. So there's another article about this. The billionaire family pushing synthetic sex identities. I'm going to actually do another stream on this. All right. I'm going to actually do another stream on this. Oh, damn. My bad, Sean. I didn't see your comment, bro. And I actually hold on real quick. Let me see something. Hold on real quick. Yeah, man. I actually exited out of it. Damn, I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, Tony had facts, Carla. Tony had 20 different damn names every time he would change his name. But you would always know because he'd come in and say some he'd come in and say some stupid shit like, "What's up, Kangs and Quains?" Like, yeah, you just changed your profile picture and your name, but your stupid ass still got the membership badge. You know what I'm saying? So here go to the Pritzker family right here. One of America's richest families. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go into that when we dive a little bit deeper into these scandals. Okay. Now, I don't know if Tarek is in here, but shout out to my man Tarek because he actually sent me this video, or I'm sorry, sent me this article here, and it's talking about this dude named Tony Dungy. All right. It says NFL world is saddened by Tony Dungy development. Now, I've seen this guy like on Twitter and there was a couple YouTube videos, but I never really watched the content. But he's actually in this article here, they're talking about things that he's saying in regards to these agendas. Now, remember, Mark Dice said that there was a war on white people, right? And we just saw who the people are who are funding a lot of what they qualify as woke. And in most cases, the money behind who funds a campaign, those Dungy, did you say Dungy? Is that how you say it? Dungy? You know, I don't watch sports. I'm gonna call this motherfucker name is Dungy, like a damn dung beetle. You know how them dung beetles roll up shit with their back legs? You know how they be running around rolling up shit balls with their back legs? I'll call this motherfucker Dungy. You know what I'm saying? Rolling up shit with his back legs, doing handstands, rolling up shit. A big ball of shit coming down the ramp like Indiana Jones, and the motherfuckers running from it and shit. Oh, okay, I'm not gonna do it. Tia said that anybody going in on Tony gonna have a problem with me. All right, I ain't gonna go in on him, Tia. My bad. I'm just trolling. Let me shut my ass up. Oh man. So former Colts head coach Tony Dungy is trending on Twitter this Wednesday. Did you guys know that? Oddly enough, it had nothing to do with the NFL. How many of y'all knew that he was trending? Italia said, "Why was I thinking of dung?" Oh, shout out to Tony Dungy. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tony Dungy, first black coach to win a Super Bowl. Put some respect on his name. Yo, throw some radiation emojis in the chat for Dungy. Some of y'all can put Beatles in there if y'all got Beatle emojis. Carlton go put a Beatle emoji in there. He said them Beatles are funny, bro. Them Beatles are hilarious. Them Beatles are hilarious. Those Beatles are the shit. You know what I'm saying? Those Beatles are the shit. You know what I'm saying? Angie put in the ladybug emojis. Ladybugs ain't talented like them dung beetles are. Them dung beetles be doing all kinds of the dung beetles be doing the same workouts that them women on the YouTube shorts be doing. Shout out to the women on the YouTube shorts. You know what I'm saying? Except for them women don't be rolling up shit with their back legs. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Dungy responded to a tweet about Representative Sandra Feist's recent statements. She argued that menstrual products should be available in all school bathrooms. Why would menstrual products be available in all school bathrooms? Let's tackle that right here. Tia knows Tony Dungy. Don't tell him I was talking about him, Tia. I'm gonna have to put this video on private now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to put this video on private. Now, why would there be an expectation to have menstrual products in all school bathrooms when all people in school don't have menstrual cycles? Does that make sense? Right? There are a lot of schools that are moving towards quote unquote gender neutral bathrooms. What this means is that everybody will use the same bathroom because the bathroom will be gender neutral, i.e., unisex. And if we add female, we might become obsolete very quickly, Feist said. So what Feist is doing is Feist is saying that the use of the word female is making these particular people obsolete. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, how does that work? Second, not all students who menstruate are female. That's not a fact. That is nonsense. Only females menstruate. Period. But do you know that there's a group of women that would call me misogynist for saying that? I will get attacked by women before I get attacked by anybody else for saying that only women menstruate, because only women menstruate. But that's misogynistic on my part if I say it. How? Why is it that we can just say something that's not factual information and recite it? And if you ask me, it's because there's a lot of money funding the hopes of things like this pushing through. You know what I'm saying? Super duper facts to you. Smack that like button for Radiation Rob. Big facts. Big facts. We need to make sure all students have access to these products. There are obviously less non-female menstruating. There's no such thing as a non-female menstruator. Like, What are they talking about? There are obviously less non-female menstruating students, and therefore their usage will be much lower. That was actually calculated into the cost of this. So then that means that if you actually calculated this honestly, then that means that the cost of this should be zero, right? What's up, Shakiri? This is a real thing, ladies and gentlemen. It says clearly Dungy is not Dungy. Dungy was it? It was Dungy, right? Not Dungy. 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 I bet you it actually is Dungy, and somebody long time ago got made fun of, so they changed the pronunciation. Well, we're gonna make it a long G. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna make it long G style. Clearly, Dungy is not a fan of this proposal. That's nothing, Dungy wrote on Twitter. Some school districts are putting litter boxes in the school bathrooms for the students who identify as cats. Very important to address every student's needs. You're not a cat. You guys remember when I did the videos about those people that identified as wolves and dogs? Yeah, this is Rainbow Babble. Facts. A plebiscite prism. Yeah, they identify as cats out here. You know what I'm saying? You're not a damn cat. That's something. Never mind. You know what I'm saying? You're not a damn cat. The NFL fans are quite disappointed that Dungy would share this comment on Twitter. Why are you disappointed? Now, remember, these are the same NFL fans that says if another N-word kneels, I'm not going to the game. Right? But here's a black dude that's saying men are men and women are women, and these people get paid too much. Racism can't exist if NFL contracts are so high. And if these N-words think that they're going to use NFL for their social activism, I'm going to take my slave descendant money somewhere, my slave master descendant money somewhere else. Ha! I'll take it to the gun store instead of an NFL game. What are they disappointed about? I thought that the thing that the NFL fans were disappointed about was that the NFL has become woke. Well, by their definition of woke, this black NFL coach seems to not be, quote unquote, according to their definition, woke. So what are they complaining about now? This person here that's called himself the afterlife of the party says that the tweet is just sad and pathetic. Find a real news source, coach. Yeah, find a real news source, because you dared to say that if you have external urinary tract, you're supposed to go in a male bathroom. And if you have an internal urinary tract, you're supposed to go in a female bathroom. Yes, go find a new news source. I guess because Coach Dungy is black and he has a 68 IQ, he just can't understand why somebody can't aim properly minus a dick standing at a urinal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. But apparently that's not how it works anymore. Apparently that's not true. Apparently that's wrong. One fan responded, "If you believe this obvious lie, that's really pretty sad." So now pay very close attention, right? Because when it comes to the left and the right, the trolling is the same. It's always, you just don't understand. Which means that one group of these people may believe that you can have internal sexual organs and still somehow aim your urine at the back of a urinal. Or you can have external urinary organs and get yourself filleted and be appropriate for a sundress. Or you can be somebody who's pro-slavery and they're still going to tell you the same thing. You just don't understand. You know what I'm saying? But remember, as long as everybody understands that it's Dungy who's wrong in this situation, that's what you need to focus on. It's so sad to find out what kind of person you truly are. Another fan tweeted at Dungy. Such a disappointment. Be better. Dude, this is sad, a third fan wrote. That you believe this obvious lie is sad and disingenuous. Dungy ultimately deleted his tweet about students who identify as cats. Of course, screenshots are forever. It's people identifying as animals is not a lie. People are actually identifying as animals out here. Yeah, I agree, finance man. How is he wrong? Yeah, that I agree, Bronze. That don't sound like NFL fans at all. In Major, that's hilarious. But I mean, like, these are the double standards, though. So, and again, this is why when you ask me, there's no unity that you can ever have with the right or the left, because as long as you're black, if any talking point of theirs is coming out of your mouth, it's going to always be the wrong one. And the reason why it's always going to be the wrong one is because these people do not want any kind of unity with you. Okay? They don't want any kind of unity with you. Now, I got a question. How many people saw that live stream that I did where we talked about those two trans men who brutalized their children? If you guys saw that live stream, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't see that live stream, give me a thumbs down. Now, here's an article from the Daily Mail debating this should not affect your career. Has a fear of being labeled transphobic led BBC bosses to allow a militant pro-trans group to censor its reporting. One of the ways that you're canceled is by people saying you're transphobic. Another way people cancel you is by saying you're anti-Semitic. Let me ask you guys a question. Those children that were involved as victims in the crimes that were done against them from that last stream that I did, if those children grow up to be transphobic, who contributed the most to their transphobia? Would they be fearful of trans people because what was done to them by their own parents? So now my question is, how do we deal with that? Yeah, facts in Major. That story is disgusting and it happened in Atlanta. That's the question. How do we deal with that? Because now you have these particular people manufacturing transphobes, but yet anybody who says something questioning something like women in a men's bathroom, we're the ones that get vilified. They call us transphobes. They say that there's something wrong with us. Women out here saying the same thing that the LGBTQ community is saying. We're toxically masculine. The LGBTQ community out here calling straight people the G word. You know what I'm saying? That's what we have. We live in a society where the LGBTQ community can trick somebody into being with one of them, and then they can turn around and use anti-LGBTQ rhetoric against a straight person to try to shame a straight person into silence. And nobody talks about that. How many cases do you hear when an LGBTQ person manipulated a straight person into a sexual escapade, and then they try to say, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to out you? What do you mean you're going to out me? If you're trying to present yourself as a woman and you identify as a woman, then what benefit would it be to you to attempt to out me? Because that clearly means that you still think that you're not a woman if you're outing yourself. So these people, if you're weaponizing outing yourself and you're a member of the LGBTQ community, you got to ask yourself the question, do you even believe in your own identity? Because if you believe that you were actually what you were, then it wouldn't be no such thing as outing. If you actually believe your own delusion, then you wouldn't doubt, you couldn't out nobody. So what's really going on? But nobody asked that question. The conservatives don't ask that question, and the Democrats don't ask that question. And the reason why is because as long as they can make a buck, as long as it's not affecting them, as long as they're able to practice anti-black racism, you know what I'm saying? The world is good for them. It works. That's how they like it. As long as they're able to have unearned power, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Malcolm Clark, who is the co-founder of LGB Alliance, a group critical of trans agenda. He was introduced to BBC executive Nathan Wren at Glasgow event last month. Clark told Wren that science program makers must stand for biological facts. Row at the party in Scotland is just one front, increasingly bitter culture war. Okay. So now, again, I want you guys to pay very close attention. Now we've shifted to where the white media is calling the LGBTQ agenda the culture war. And remember, the culture war is woke culture, right? The culture war is white American culture versus quote unquote woke culture. And woke culture is whatever they want it to be at whatever moment they want it to be. So now we're not talking about black people, black history, reparations. Now all of a sudden we're talking about this nonsense here. And when it comes to this nonsense here, you see who most of the supporters are of this kind of nonsense. But yet and still, the people who claim to be fighting this culture war, these quote unquote so-called culture warriors like Ron DeSantis, are too cowardly to call out who's actually waging the war against him. That's why I laugh every time I see Ron DeSantis say woke is where Florida is where woke goes to die. Ain't nobody dying in Florida except people that engage in criminality and gang fights because y'all ain't real enough and y'all ain't doing shit. Ron DeSantis out here sending death threats. What Florida is where woke goes to die. You ain't killing shit. And you ain't running shit but your mouth. Fuck out of here. Pulse nightclub was in Florida. Shut your delusional ass up. Well, actually, maybe I need to shut up. Because a lot of people went to Pulse nightclub and died. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people went to Pulse nightclub and died. That shit happened. But these people try to get somewhere and talk big and bad, you know, because they need a little bit of money. Ron DeSantis needs some of them Pritzker monies. He needs some of them Pritzker dollars because them Pritzker dollars hit different. They seasoned a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? that Pritzker money got a little bit different pop on it. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I guess in Florida, motherfuckers do go there to die. But it's not because of Ron DeSantis. And Florida supposed to be somewhere that has good police, according to Ron DeSantis. But they sure as hell didn't stop that Pulse nightclub execution, did they? So woke only dies in Florida when people who aren't part of the government kills it. That's what Ron DeSantis should say. He should buy a billboard and said, Florida is where woke comes to die. Exit 54 Pulse nightclub. Because you ain't killing shit. You know what I'm saying? You ain't killing a motherfucking thing. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says when Emmy-nominated TV producer Malcolm Clark went to a party at the World Congress of Science and Factual Producers in Glasgow last month, he was looking forward to making some useful contacts. So when he was introduced to Nathan Wren, a BBC executive who develops science programming, he was naturally delighted. But the conversation took an awkward turn. Clark, who has worked on landmark BBC programs such as Tomorrow's World and Horizon, is also a co-founder of the LGB Alliance, a group critical of the militant trans agenda. So now I'm curious, what is the militant trans agenda? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed that like button, please take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not shared the video out, please make sure you guys share the video out. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the bell. Yeah, I agree. Florida is where woke is grown. I mean, you have people committing all those crimes. All you got to do is just type in hashtag Florida, man. There's insanity going on all over the place. But Florida is dope, though. I mean, it's an amazing state. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Beautiful weather. You know what I'm saying? Beaches all over the place. So now here says he sees the opportunity to tell Wren that BBC science program makers must stand up for biological facts. In short, they should keep reminding other staff that a woman with a penis was what the vast majority of the public rightly calls a man. Yeah. I mean, again, that's common sense. Literally, there's only one group of people who's arguing that. You know what I'm saying? There's only one group of people that's arguing that. But as Clark railed against the cowardice of BBC's management in the face of the Pride group, Wren informed him that he was in fact speaking to the co-chair of the BBC studio branch of that very LGBTQ organization. In the lively discussion that followed about what Clark saw as BBC's pride-based interference in news coverage, Wren informed him that we only intervene when, say, a trans subject is being covered, then we'll press to ensure trans voices are being heard, adding, we often ask for changes and they don't happen. The veteran producer was not reassured. In a subsequent article, the critic magazine, he wrote, why do Nathan and his group of agitprop moaner groaners think that they have a right to ask for changes in the first place? The row at that party in Scotland is just one front in an increasingly bitter culture war raging fiercely behind the historic portals of the BBC. The corporation has long prided itself on its worldwide reputation for impartial reporting. They don't have a reputation of impartial reporting. The BBC has a reputation of liberal bias. Yeah, speaking of mass shootings, did you hear about the LA shooting today? 10 gone, 10 injuries at a workout studio. Yeah, and the individual allegedly deleted themselves and they were AAPI. You know what I'm saying? Yet concerns are growing that it is allowing its news coverage to be influenced by the partisan, narrow-minded views of trans activists grouped around the BBC Pride network within its ranks. Now, let me ask you guys something, and I want to know the actual reason for this. All right. I want to know the actual reason for this. Why do you guys think that they try to wrap black politics into the woke label? Why do they do that? Is it because of they're ashamed of their own culture, or why do they do that? What do reparations and a anti FBA hate crime bill have to do with this nonsense here? Somehow, in the minds of white people, it's relatable and it all makes sense, and it's all one big conspiracy and all one war against them. But I'm trying to figure out how that is. That's the question. Because remember, when it comes to them, by their definition, this is defined as woke. I gotta agree. I gotta agree with Tia. They want to make us hate what we do by linking it to what they hate about themselves. Super facts. Monkeypox kind of blew that narrative out of the water when it showed how it was being transferred and where all of the monkeypox infections where all of the monkeypox infections were happening. But again, this is something that they try to attribute that to us, though. Yeah, that's super facts, Don. And that's one of the reasons why we got to do it. You know what I'm saying? I got to do some research on this and check this and see exactly what the details are, and try to either put up a video or a stream about it. Sean says, to them, we're not supposed to get anything specifically for us. So everything is all about them taking what we like and making it dirty and then destroying it. Yeah, super facts. I actually saw a video that talked about hipster culture, and it talks about how hipster culture was adopted from the jazz, the black culture of jazz. You'll never hear white people admit that, but it was admitted in this video. Carlton said, I haven't heard about monkeypox in a hot minute. I guess it went away. It went to it went to another two hole. You know what I'm saying? It went to another two hole near you. You know what I'm saying? But the media ain't really saying nothing about it because it ain't out here killing people. You know what I'm saying? You know? Yeah, DSB, they try to call us racist because they want to be outraged. And the easiest way to skirt accountability is to try to position yourself in a fake victim role. But then when we do the deep dive and we do the deep investigation, all fingers only point one direction. And I'm sorry, Mark Dice, it might not be black hands pointing at you, but all fingers point back to people like you, though. And then y'all say, well, those people aren't white. Somebody in Tori and Rain's comment section said, well, ask a member of the J community if they think that they're white. Ask a coon if they think that they're black. Shit. What the fuck? I mean, like, it's just so funny how these idiots think they have these gotcha moments Well, just ask one of those people. Just ask one of those people if they think that they're white. Okay. Go ask Sammy Sosa if he's black. I mean, who cares about asking people anything? Go ask one of these people over here if what bathroom they should be using. Why are we asking anybody anything? Why are we not looking at facts? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, the objectives and facts are allowed to fly out the window to support nonsense. And that's one of the things that we got to push back on. No, 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 no. You're not going to do that. Not today. That ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? That is not happening. So now here it says a minority of activists, journalists, editors, and administrators are pushing a trans rights agenda and seeking to impose their preferred language and values on news stories they deem to relate to trans issues. BBC Pride has apparently gone far beyond the aim of representing LGBTQ plus staff within the corporation. It is now seeking to police the way in which BBC reports the news. Now, what I find fascinating is I find it fascinating that when it comes to these kind of situations, what you have now is white people complaining about things that black people have been complaining about for centuries. But now we're supposed to give a shit after our complaints falling on deaf ears for centuries. I don't give a shit about any of this culture war bullshit. The only thing I care about is the fact that I find it fascinating that the entire culture war is funded and financed by other white people, and they can't be honest about it and want to try to blame it on other groups of people. There's no other groups of people waging a culture war on white people. This is a war of white culture, but they want to try to frame it as if it's a war of all these other different cultures that are just going against white people. Nobody's doing that. As a matter of fact, there's a coon culture war. You know what I'm saying? With coons trying to compete to be the most acceptable minorities, but there's nobody fighting against them. There's people fighting to be the first to be accepted by them. Yeah, Sosa will say he's Dominican, not black. Me no black. That's how a lot of non-FBAs move. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says worse, these fringe activists are being effectively empowered by a BBC management that is afraid of being branded as transphobic. Now, what you got to understand about conservatives is that conservatives see all of this in the exact same way as they look at race. They'll see this in the exact same way that they look at race. So, like, if you just happen to ask some random Chad on the street about what woke means, they'll say, yeah, transphobia, reparations, all of that anti-white stuff. Yeah, no white guilt, man. Yeah, yeah. And it's like, whoa, dude, you just gave a whole bunch of word salad with some low-fat, no oil having Italian salad dressing. Run that back again. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, in response to recent controversies about BBC presenter publicizing their personal political views, BBC bosses have been keen to stress their commitment to impartiality. And again, there's no impartiality. Yeah, I agree. Black Knight Discussions. Black Knight Discussions says the majority of PC is indoctrinated by the Mark Dice effect. Play victimhood when needed, find ignorance when facts is given, and cry wolf when the truth is thrown in their face. Super facts. That is that's a tactic that you see used all the time. I remember when people used to say, "Well, white people don't understand racism." What are you talking about? Seriously, they got a PhD in it. How do you not understand racism when you wrote a bunch of racism-based laws? Your signatures are literally on every anti-black law on the planet. Your signatures are on the apartheid laws in South Africa. Your signatures are on the Asiento de Negros in Spain. Your signatures are on the Jim Crow and Black Code laws. What are you talking about? Your signatures are on the ownership manifest of slaves. What are you talking about? You don't understand it. Well, it's the same thing as when somebody just blacks out and stabs somebody 22 times. They just don't understand what happens. Here, let me bring you up to speed. You blacked out and stabbed somebody. That's what happened. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we don't understand. Yes, you do. Seriously? That's like Michael Jordan saying, well, I just don't understand how I'm so good at basketball. I just don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just throw the ball up in the air and it just goes in. I just don't understand how I'm so good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand any of this. I don't understand that in the United States, there were places called Dead Negro Holler. Like, I just don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I don't understand. Everything is I don't understand. Sometimes they could even get away with it. Sometimes, like, you'll even skirt a jail sentence by simply saying, I don't understand. Look at Jerry Jones. I don't understand. What were you doing outside that school, Jerry? I don't understand. I don't understand. For some people that don't understand so damn much, they really do have an issue with people speaking foreign languages. Like, why are you getting so mad? Y'all don't understand anything anyway. So if you don't understand the language somebody's speaking in, so what? Because you don't understand anything anyway. You know what I'm saying? How do you tout yourself as having a high IQ when literally when it comes to anything that you're supposed to be accountable for, you don't understand? Oh, there's racism? Well, I don't understand. We nuked Japan twice? I don't understand. What? Who is Jim Crow? A white guy that used to do blackface. Oh, I don't understand. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? All right. Okie dokie. Sure. Okay. We don't understand. I got it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So now, yet the strong perception among senior BBC journalists is that a number of usually younger colleagues have been pushing trans rights within the corporation's coverage and have become too close to organizations such as Stonewall, the controversial LGBTQ charity. These senior journalists fear that the BBC's impartiality is at risk and that naive bosses have not only let this vocal minority become too influential, but have also shut down the debate on the issue. Yeah, I might have to agree with that. If you ask me, I believe that the debate on the LGBTQ community has been shut down the same way that debates about the Somberitos have been shut down. You can't talk about the Somberitos. You know what I'm saying? You can't talk about them Somberitos. You know what I'm saying? That's a wrap. Somebody asks you about a Somberito, tell them that you just had one from Taco Bell the other day and it was delicious with mild. Don't ever tell them what that actually means. The debate and everything else will be shut down. You know what I'm saying? You'll be Kanye Wested. You'll be arrested and Kanye Wested. You know what I'm saying? You know, you'll get Kyrie. You'll get ID'd in Kyrie and arrested in Kanye Wested. So if anybody ever asks you about Somberitos, just tell them, yeah, I usually get mine with an order of cinnamon crisps and a Baja Blast and call it a day. That's what you say. You know what I'm saying? Don't even mention nothing else. So now here it says, in much of UK's public discussion today, those who espouse views that might until recently have been considered mainstream common sense, such as the fact that there are two biological sexes and only women can have babies, are now dubbed as gender critical. And within the BBC, gender critical staff feel increasingly frightened to express an opinion. That's not gender critical. Yeah, Brett Favre don't understand either. I don't understand, you know. He sure as hell understood in them text messages, didn't he? He understood what numbers to put in on the direct deposit box. Shout out to my man James Hudson in the building. What up with it, bro? Brett Favre didn't make. I've made mistakes on the direct deposit for my check from work before. You know what I'm saying? When I would switch jobs or something, and I put in the routing number and the account number. Brett Favre didn't miss a damn dime. He didn't miss not one digit. All them deposits went everywhere they were supposed to go. That motherfucker was getting money like a damn 10-year CPA. But he don't understand when he gets. I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker said, I don't understand. Bro, you don't understand what? You know? So here you go, right here. Look at all these people right here. You see any black people? But this woke, though. This is woke. This looks like Woodstock. You know what I'm saying? It looks like this young lady here in the front with her mouth open. It really looks like she doesn't have a shirt on, which is crazy. That's some other shit that they doing. Like, don't be coming all out in public naked, and don't do that. Yeah, that's true, finance man, because of the AI and all of the stem cell research and cloning and transhumanism. There's actually a company working on creating custom cloned babies right now with AI enhancements. There's actually a transhumanism political party that runs candidates. Somebody trying to sue Umar Johnson? That's crazy. Or is it? You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Or is it? One senior BBC News insider says quite a few people think that the BBC Pride have too much power. They silence debate, especially over gender ideology. I don't even understand why a debate exists. I knew Jay was coming with it. Umar is being sued already. Finance man says in 20 to 30 years, there will be 4 types of female: real females, trans females, cyber, and robotic. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Now y'all might laugh, but I'm actually okay with 3 out of 4. There's only one that I have an issue with, and that's the one that wasn't created to be a female, and there's only one of those on the list. A custom cybernetic female? Hell, shit. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Where do you insert the quarter? A a robotic female? Is that like a vending machine? Where do I put the dollar, or do I wave my phone in front of it to get what I want? You know what I'm saying? Trans female? Absolutely not. No. No. Because if you ask me, the cyber Sugar Bum said down bad. What's good, Sugar Bum? Because if you ask me, how the hell how can you consider a trans female a female? You know what I'm saying? But the problem is that none of these, unless you buy something custom made with a serial number, you know what I'm saying, and a barcode and shit like that. you're not going to know what kind of woman it is. It's going to be indistinguishable. It's going to be indistinguishable from an actual female. And then once that happens, right? Think about this, right? Think about this. Just think of all the anti-male backlash that's going to occur when that future does come, when there's the trans women competing with the cybernetic women, competing with the AI women. They don't need to fight for it, finance man, because we're going to get blamed for it. If you say that women supported trans people and all of this, by that time in the future, it will even be elite. They'll be critical race theorying this kind of stuff, and it will be men's fault that there's a shortage of biological women. It'll be our fault. Well, it was a man who owned that company. You know what I'm saying? It's men who buy these females. Men will buy any females. Men buy cybernetic females now and been buying cybernetic females forever. How many motherfuckers buy OnlyFans? How many motherfuckers buy porn? You know what I'm saying? People been buying, you know what I'm saying, pixelated poo nanny for a long ass time. That ain't nothing new. But those were transactions where women made money from it and a man was actually buying a service. You know what I'm saying? Now, in the future, when all of this cybernetic and metaverse stuff comes, men will be blamed for it. Sugar Bum says, how is this women's fault? I wouldn't say that it's women's fault. I would say women contribute in large part to the support of the LGBTQ movement. Women are more supportive in all of the LGBTQ movement, I would say, than men, except for those men who are part of the movement themselves. Trans women actually engage in feminism, which I don't understand how, if you're a feminist, how you can unify with a trans person, because that's not empowering women. How does a man presenting as a woman empower other women? I don't understand that. And when I ask that question, women tend to just not answer it. How does, if a man chops his dick off and puts on a wig, how does that empower a woman? That's not only erasing women, but now that's adding another competitive element to women who will mess with men. You know what I'm saying? But men's thirst doesn't have anything to do with you guys' numbers decreasing. A man can be thirsty as hell. Yeah, men are thirsty as hell. Men like to fuck. But I don't understand what men liking to fuck has to do with women signing their own erasure checks. You know what I'm saying? Does it benefit you as a woman? That's the question. Does that benefit you as a woman? Artificially increasing the amount of women available by men changing themselves into women. My question is not, does that give you any kind of moral authority over anybody else? Does that benefit you? That's the question. Does that benefit women? Does that help women's cause? Does that empower women? Does it empower women for a man to exploit his pussy? Wanting somebody to beat himself is great. If somebody is a serial killer, wanting them to be themselves, does that empower civilians? I think everybody should be themselves and everybody should have the freedom to be themselves, But sometimes people being whatever they claim that themselves are isn't the best option for society. It's not supposed to be empowering to women. I agree. So my question then, and I agree, it's not supposed to be empowering to women. So why do so many women support it then? Because if women are about woman empowerment, why are they doing things that doesn't empower women? I agree. I think it would be empowering to the trans person. But now if you give now look at the trans people, right? It's to the point now where even if women question the whole trans narrative, women are getting canceled too. Women can get assaulted by trans men in a woman's bathroom. Women don't even have their own safe spaces. Like a woman's bathroom is not a safe space for a woman anymore. But men will get blamed for that. Like, I don't understand how if men largely don't support this stuff and these things are infringing on things that women have and that women do, and then women turn around and blame men for it. I just don't understand the logic of that. I don't understand the logic of blaming men for this when like there are feminists in this crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like it to me, it doesn't make sense. But that's what you see though. You know what I mean? So what my goal is like I want to get down to the meat and potatoes of men are already blamed. You can look at the mainstream media. Men are blamed. It's now considered misogyny to criticize transgenders. That's misogyny. Misogyny is supposed to be hateful male behavior towards women. Misogyny never included any kind of male behavior towards trans. That's allegedly homophobia. But now it's considered misogyny. And now you have online debates of whether trans women should be quote unquote speaking for women. There are literal YouTube videos out there that ask this question. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, if women are out here banging hard for themselves, why are they not banging back against that? Clearly, there's a group that's attempting to infringe on their rights. There's a group that's attempting to infringe on their power, but instead, they seem to be on board with this group, and it's just bizarre. Finance Man says that the definition of woman has changed. Well, we know Ketanji Brown gave a interesting non-explanation of what a woman is. So now Sugar Bump says, well, if men weren't harassing and deleting people for getting trans or GAY, then we wouldn't need all of this. Can it be said that men delete themselves when they turn into a woman? Is that a form of self-deletion because you're no longer yourself? And the thing is that men and women have been killing each other for years, and none of this is going on between men and women. I just did a video about a woman that stabbed her boyfriend 22 times. There's none of this going on for men and women. So there's nothing that goes on between trans men and women that doesn't go on between males and females. So as far as the all of this that men's is out here doing, there's nothing different between that and trans people. So why the special treatment for trans people? Look at all of the black women that get killed on a daily basis. Ain't nothing happening with that. Look at all the black men that get killed on a daily basis. Ain't nothing happening with that. Look at all of the white people that kill their families on a daily basis. Nothing happening with that. So like it's difficult for me to find a rationale of saying that all of these things are happening because of specific crimes. As a matter of fact, what was actually happening was that there was a gay defense clause. And what that was those LGBTQ people were manipulating people into believing that they were heterosexual, so much to the point where they were allowed to use a legitimate rape defense in court. And for a long time, the courts were abiding by it, like the case of Isimian E2. You know what I'm saying? No. I don't understand why women are advocating. That's why I asked. Like, I don't understand why motherfuckers is hitting the street on that. I don't understand why motherfuckers is hitting the street on a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why motherfuckers don't practice self-defense. If you see somebody infringing on your turf, it's not in the best interest to team up with those people. Like that whole if I can't beat them, join them shit, that logic doesn't always hold. You know what I'm saying? So like I don't think women should be advocating for that at all. I don't think it's gonna be a good benefit for women. I don't think that it helps with women empowerment either. You know what I mean? But that's just my assumption though. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't nobody to sit up here and tell anybody what to do. To me, for anybody that's a straight person, a male or a female, like when it comes to quote unquote the gender war, that's what the gender war should actually be focused on: straight erasure and making straight being criticized. You know what I'm saying? And I agree. I think that everyone should be themselves until being themselves is a detriment to society. If you're a minor attracted person, I don't think that society should allow you to be yourself. And my thing is if you do want to be yourself, then by all means be yourself. But if you're a minor attracted person and you attempt to fondle the wrong you attempt to fondle the wrong minor, and the parents of that minor deletes your minor attracted ass, then it just is what it is. But you got to be who you were until you weren't. If you're a serial killer, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that society should allow you to be who you want to be. Or society should allow you to be who you want to be until you meet the wrong person that turns you into their victim. You see what I'm saying? That's how I feel about that. So as long as you're ready to deal with the societal punishment, yeah, I agree. And see, like I agree. As far as I'm concerned, men who are bi and lie about being straight and engage with women are no different than trans women who used to be a man and lie to men about being women. To me, there's no difference in that situation. You're lying about your sexuality and you're taking advantage of somebody, and you can cause harm, and you're manipulating that person into sex that they may not have had if you had actually kept it real. You know what I'm saying? You sitting up here lying to this woman saying that you're straight, and meanwhile you go back home to some damn bussy, and now you don't pass AIDS or monkeypox to somebody. That's not cool. You know what I'm saying? Like that there's an issue with that. Just like there's an issue with if a woman says that, or if a trans woman says, yeah, I'm a biological woman. You know what I mean? And she whips it out and stands in front of the toilet, and you hear her pissing. Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? My thing is, Sugar Bum, LGBTQ people will be like everybody else. As long as they keep it a buck, everybody at some point can be the victim of a crime. Everybody at some point can be a victim of a hate crime. But as long as people keep it a buck, if you're straight or if you're LGBTQ, you only be the victim of a random crime if that happens. I think the likelihood of you being the victim of a violent crime increases if you're manipulative. And that even happens with straight couples. People can be the victim of a crime if somebody's like, yeah, I'm being faithful, and then you mess around and find this person involved in some infidelity. That can become a crime of passion. That kind of thing can happen whether it's an LGBTQ couple or a straight couple. And the reason that can happen is because of, people's emotions and how they react to certain stimuli. You know what I'm saying? So I think like the easiest way to stay out of getting into a situation like that is if people keep it a buck. LGBTQ people keep it a buck. Straight people keep it a buck. Don't try to trick nobody. Yeah, I see, and I agree with that too, though. Men be lying, the LGBTQ people be lying, women be lying, and that's what I'm saying. If people kept it a buck, I don't think a lot of this stuff would happen. But in a lot of cases, for some reason, people choose to not keep it a buck. And when they don't keep it a buck, that's where those emotional overpours come out at. That's where those emotional outrages come out at. And then people, they start doing wild and crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the BBC shies away from reporting on the subject. It's not balanced in any way. The staff are afraid of expressing gender critical views. Now, here's my question. Do you all think that at a journalism agency, people should be afraid to express gender critical rules if or gender critical topics? If you guys think that people should have some kind of fear of discussing gender criticism, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that they should, give me a thumbs down. I think that people should be able to discuss topics freely and professionally. Even if you disagree, I think that there should be a level of professionalism where a topic should be able to be discussed. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. It's a hard topic to me. Like, it's a hard topic that kind of has been overcomplicated, in my opinion. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's been weirdly overcomplicated to now where it's almost like you have to give a long-winded explanation to properly cover all bases. You know what I'm saying? It is this has been drawn out to be something that's really time consuming when we got other shit to be worried about. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the same senior insider is clear that the influence of BBC Pride reaches all corners of the corporation. The group shuts down gender critical voices, which skews the news reporting. Some staff are particularly fed up with the way BBC Pride's influence undermines the BBC's reputation of impartiality. And again, it's arguable that the BBC has a reputation of impartiality. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed that like button, please take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't shared the video out, please make sure you guys share the video out. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you guys hit the bell. So now here it says this culture clash is sometimes presented as a generational divide. However, critical insiders are keen to point out that some older journalists are also involved in the trans lobby, and management's accommodating attitude is key to the growing influence of BBC Pride. One insider said, "It's time BBC Director General Tim Davie shut it down." Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you all think that the BBC is getting financing from the Pritzker family? If you guys think that the BBC is receiving funding from the Pritzker family, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. Let me know what you guys think. Shout out to Mr. Knock. What up with it, bro? So now here it says there seems to be little prospect of that. BBC's Pride Network, most powerful internal champion, as it turns out, is one Phil Harold, a little known but powerful figure who is not only a BBC trustee and a company secretary, but is also the chief of staff to Director General Davie. So in effect, a BBC Pride supporter acts as a gatekeeper to the news giant's top bosses. So if that's the case, do you all think that news is actually impartial as they say that it is? The news can't be as impartial as they say that it is if they had this going on. When Mail Plus purchased the story pursued the story last week, a BBC spokesman told us that BBC Pride is a volunteer-led staff network which aims to support all LGBTQ staff. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Why is it that have you guys ever seen on Twitter when LGBTQ or LGBT minus or LGB minus the T has been trending on Twitter? Have you guys ever seen that? LGBT minus or LGB minus the T. Have you ever seen that? That trends on Twitter sometimes. How many of you guys have seen that? LGB minus the T. That little hashtag will trend on Twitter every now and then. How come the news media never covers that? There's a whole civil war going on inside of the academy. There's a food fight at the lunch table, French fries flying everywhere, pizza running down people's face, pepperoni on somebody's eyeball, and they don't talk about it. Shout out to Emmanuel Carey. Who knows? So I want somebody do me a favor. Somebody go on Google real quick, right? Go on Google and type in LGB minus the T, and then come back and tell me what you find. Let me know what you guys find. You know what I'm saying? It's not an editorial team and it has no role in directing content. And like the Daily Mail's group, LGBTQ Plus Network, our staff networks help ensure that the BBC is an inclusive organization. So remember, now here when it comes to inclusive, now we're talking about LGBTQ. Remember in Mark Dice's video, Mark Dice said that inclusion was talking about putting black people all over the place. You see? So now here it says, yet it seems those running BBC Pride and the manager whose ear that they have didn't get that memo. It is striking that BBC Pride's influence has seemingly continued to grow despite the corporation's formal break with the trans ideology espoused by Stonewall. Initially, back in 2018, BBC bosses had enthusiastically embraced Stonewall, signing up to the charity's controversial £5,000 a year diversity champions program, in which firms and public institutions can be awarded the status of a diversity champion if they sign up to a tick box list of Stonewall demands. So now it's what it seems like is that they're giving people a stipend for following these diversity initiatives, right? It Yeah, it's called drop the T. It's called drop the T. In Major says they hate the T because they cause too much trouble, but they don't talk like the mainstream media. They never talk about that infighting, right? And when it comes to this, if you look at this right here, look at who's waging the war. It's not a black person, but they keep on saying that is like Mark Dice video. Mark Dice keeps saying that there's a war on white people. Where is the war? Where is the war at? You know what I'm saying? Look at this. What is this right here? Look at that. I mean, I don't understand. This looked like the Rainbow Riddler right here. And this motherfucker looked like somebody that came off of a damn, I don't know. I don't know what's up with all these damn costumes though, like it's Halloween and shit. But that's some scary shit. Imagine if you woke up and this motherfucker was standing there, this person in the middle, looking like Papa Shango and shit. About to do some voodoo on your doo-doo. Like, man. I'm about to do voodoo where you boo-boo. Nah, I'm good, bro. You know what I'm saying? Trying to change the lyrics of some Biggie song and shit. Shout out to Val. What up with it, Val? Right. This motherfucker in the middle looking like an extra. This motherfucker in the middle looking like an extra from Hellraiser. Who did you trick? ah. ah. I want to know the answer to that question. Nah, I want to know the answer. And those the people tricking straight men. Right. This motherfucker in the middle that looks like the Tin Man from the damn Wizard of Oz. Who you tricking? I want to know who you tricked. ah, this motherfucker said, "Hold on, grab my spear so I can reach over and turn off the alarm clock and go back to sleep." What? Grab my spear? Grab my spear? Yeah. And do you got a garage that fits my horse? This motherfucker wearing all kind of bullet shell casings and seashells with stacks. Talking about a damn culture war. This motherfucker whole outfit is a cultural, like a cultural apocalypse that he's wearing. That's crazy. Sugar Bum said, "Who is that motherfucker out here tricking?" That's a great question. I would like to know the answer to that one too. You know what I'm saying? I should take a screenshot of that and post that on the community wall with that comment highlighted and say, "Yeah, can y'all answer this? Can y'all answer this question? Because we want to know." We want to know. This motherfucker look like a bad guy from a Harry Potter movie. Like, who did he trick? So now here it says, while the BBC was still a member of the scheme, a senior source had said that there was a lot of disquiet in some quarters about certain correspondents echoing Stonewall's agenda amid concerns that the BBC had been quote unquote captured by the trans lobby. Now that's interesting, right? And let's just dissect this sentence right here. Is anybody surprised that some BBC had been captured by the trans lobby? I mean, that's what they do, right? That's kind of what goes on. That's what happens, right? So that shouldn't be too surprising that the BBC had been captured by the trans lobby. I mean, that's what they do. So they get on Grinder and shit like that for. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, while most kept these concerns to themselves, in 2021, BBC radio journalist Stephen Nolan produced a podcast about the worrying influence of Stonewall lobbying on BBC and government departments. So they lobbying on the BBC and on the government department. They're lobbying the BBC and the government. And as you guys can see, that's how we get into the Pritzker family. You know what I'm saying? Because do you all think that the Pritzker family donated money to any lobbyists? They got billions of dollars to give away. They got billions of dollars to spend on whatever it is that they want to spend. You know what I'm saying? They've got money out the wazoo. You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump. Nolan told the Times that I've been broadcasting in Northern Ireland for 25 years with all the bullets and bombs, and I've had death threats. Yet, really seasoned people at the BBC were saying, do you really want to put yourself in the firing line on this? He said many colleagues viewed the subject as untouchable. There's a fear factor of even talking about it. That's not acceptable. Debating a subject shouldn't affect your career. Now, this is what I want you guys to do. All right. I want you guys to give me a list in the comment section. What kind of debates, what kind of conversations can be career suicide? You saw what happened to Kanye West. You saw what happened to Kyrie Irving. You saw what happened to Whoopi Goldberg. What kind of conversations can possibly end your career? And now you have to ask yourself the question, why is it that those conversations have such a terminal effect in comparison to other conversations? How does that work? There should be some kind of metric. There should be some kind of indication of how that works. Sugar Bum says religion, race. Yeah, I agree. Depending on what you talk about specifically, those particular subjects can indeed get your career shut down. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the BBC pulled out of Stonewall's Diversity Champions program in November of 2021, admitting that taking part had led to questions about whether the BBC can be impartial when reporting debates Stonewall was involved in. Yet behind the scenes, the pressure to bend BBC's news agenda to reflect trans ideology continued. Some younger staff were reported to be horrified by cutting of ties with Stonewall. This came not long after a Row About BBC News website report on a disturbing new phenomenon in the lesbian dating world. How many of you guys have heard about some kind of disturbing new phenomenon in the lesbian dating world? Well, if you're not, lesbian, or if you're not LGBTQ, then you probably haven't heard about it. I haven't heard about it. You know what I'm saying? And I cover these kind of topics on my channel. Sugar Bum said the government. The government. Yeah, and I agree. Don P. Yuta. Any that go against the white folk. Super fact. Especially depending on which ones you talking about. So what is this disturbing new phenomenon in the lesbian dating world? Has anybody heard of it? I haven't heard of it. Let's see what they're talking about. Reporter Caroline Lowbridge has spoken to gay women who said they felt pressured and coerced into accepting trans women as partners, that is, into having sex with biological men. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Richard. Houston, we got a problem. This is a first world problem. This is one of them problems we don't have to have. This is one of them problems that is unnecessary. I'm gonna read it again. This came not long after a Row About BBC News website report on a disturbing new phenomenon in the lesbian dating world. Reporter Caroline Lowbridge had spoken to a gay woman who said that they felt pressured and coerced into accepting trans women as partners, that is, into having sex with biological men. Now we have a problem. See, everybody up in here, everybody, Kath Jones said, You know what I'm saying? An open letter calling on the BBC to apologize for the article, promoted by BBC Pride, attracted more than 16,000 signatures, including some from BBC staff. In the wake of this furore, there were reports in late 2021 of a fractious Zoom call involving Director General Davey, then Director of News Fran Unsworth, and BBC Pride. Unsworth, who was due to retire shortly afterwards, was said to have told the Pride activists that they needed to get used to hearing views that they don't personally like. Okay. A Sunday Times report of the meeting quoted a BBC journalist who said Fran was calm but determined. It felt like she was having to explain journalism to idiots. According to reports, the meeting was extremely hostile toward the Director General, who was told by one member of staff that he was not in position to make decisions on this issue because he's not trans. Yeah, right. So right. See, trans women are wanting biological women. So that means that the whole entire time they've been attracted to women, which means what actually changed, right? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed that like button, please make sure you guys smash the like button. Also, if you're not subscribed, go ahead, take a moment, subscribe, hit that bell, and please be sure to share the video out to your social media. Now think about that, right? That's like Dwayne Wade's child and that child's partner. I don't know what the correct pronouns are, but that's a similar situation to that. It's like I'm going to be right playing that I'm left, and this person is going to be left playing that they're right, and then we're going to get together. Like y'all could have just stayed at point A. Like I don't understand that. Like I'm going to change myself to a woman in order to get into a lesbian relationship. You could have just been a man and got into the relationship with the same person. What'd you change yourself to a woman for? Like that to me, like that's like a double negative. Like that's some shit that you could represent in math, like with a negative in outside of a number with parentheses and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like some double negative shit. Like the fuck? You can literally represent that mathematically with a multiplication problem. You know what I'm saying? Kath Jones says gay was much simpler. They recognize they're men or women who are sexually attracted to the same sex. These other letters are, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, again, like to me, this is where you get into the issue. I don't have a problem with whoever people are attracted to, but I don't understand when you get down to these levels of the rabbit hole, why would you change yourself into something else if you're attracted still to the opposite couple, but after, you know what I'm saying? After you've changed yourself, you're still attracted to what you was attracted to originally. Like, I don't understand. Why would you go through all that? Why would you do that? Yeah, I'm trying to talk so they don't steal my video. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to start posting my streams on Rumble. Y'all want me to start posting my streams on Rumble, the backups? If y'all want me to start posting my backup streams on Rumble, give me a thumbs up. I'll start posting them. I'm not gonna go back and post no old shit though. That's too damn much. But I'll start doing that in the future. You know what I'm saying? Because it seemed like Rumble is catching on, like people messing with Rumble. So you know what I'm saying? May as well have the stuff backed up there. Y'all can expect the comment section of every video to look like Torian's Mark Dice comment section with the trolls on there. Oh my God, you're just hateful. You're just hateful. You just hate us, innocent people. You just hate us. You're hateful, hateful, hateful. Blame it on us. We're evil. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Oh, look at this. I'm just looking at this right here. Speaking of LGBTQ, Stephen Colbert slams Don Lemon for wearing a hoodie on CNN's revamped breakfast show, only for Anchor to hit back and say bosses asked him to be more casual. I might actually do a video about that because I love roasting Don Lemon. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? I bet you y'all think Don Lemon cried about it? I did that to wake you up. Torian said, just woke up and you had to mention Mark Dice. I turned off the comment section and one of his minions went under my Joker video and said MD Punked. Man, them motherfuckers are persistent. Man, they don't care. It's like a whole swarm of like a damn swarm of termites. You know what I'm saying? They just get a hammer and keep smashing them, and the motherfuckers they just keep coming out of nowhere, just repeating the same shit like the idiot clone army. You know what I'm saying? That shit is wild, man. So now here says a leaked transcript of a BBC Pride meeting in the same week revealed staff threatening to quit over news about allegedly that one was actively hostile to a trans and non-binary person. Another complained senior management has been gaslighting young staff over the Lowbridge article. We were accused of being overly emotional in our response to our feelings about this article and accused of not having read it properly and accused of not understanding the concept of impartiality. One key battleground in this ongoing quote unquote culture war. So remember, I want you guys to pay very close attention to how often you hear that term culture war. And when you hear that term culture war, always ask the person that's talking about the culture war, well, what culture war are you talking about? And then just let them talk. Because these are terms that are interchangeable that they use for multiple purposes. 1 minute they can be talking about black people, the next minute they can be talking about LGBTQ, the next minute they can be talking about just anything. The J's, anything. The book of in-house rules that governs what language journalists should use in reports. Some journalists are concerned that the trans lobby exercises undue influence over the style guide. For example, it defines homosexual as a person who is attracted to people of their own gender rather than of their own sex. This is in line with Stonewall's advice. So it seems like Stonewall is not only a financier, but it seems like Stonewall is an LGBTQ think tank. I gotta agree to you. Tia said not only did he cry, but he invoked Trayvon Martin as my guest. Yeah, facts. I bet you his voice went up real high. I bet you his voice went up real high. Man, I don't know what happened to Don. I don't even know what to say about Don Lemon anymore. I honestly don't know what to say about Don Lemon. The dude is gone. He's now on a daytime show. I'm saying, yeah, Donna Lemonhead. So now here it says the emphasis on gender rather than biological sex is more than a matter of semantics. It implies that a male who identifies as a woman should be treated as such and thus allowed to access all women only spaces, from changing rooms to prisons, and to compete in women's sports. No, 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 and no. Shout out to RG Titan. What up with it, bro? Don P says, let's back up and understand who's running what. Facts. I'm going to read this paragraph again real quick. The emphasis on gender rather than biological sex is more of a matter of semantics. It implies that a male who identifies as a woman should be treated as such and thus allowed to access women-only spaces, from changing rooms to prisons, and to compete in women's sports. No. Why? Why should that be, is the question. If you guys agree with what I just read, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree with what I read, give me an angry face. I don't understand why that should be. I haven't heard a satisfactory explanation of why somebody who is not what they claim to be should be treated as what they claim to be, despite that that's not what they are. I have never heard an all-encompassing and acceptable explanation to justify that. Have you guys? I haven't heard one. You know what I'm saying? I haven't heard one. This endorsement of trans ideology is often reflected in BBC News coverage. During the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, for example, the BBC News website published a 3,000-word hagiography of Laurel Hubbard, the trans weightlifter from New Zealand who was allowed to enter the women's competition, compete with questionable claims about there not really being much hard evidence on the difference between a male and female athletes in strength and speed sports. Like, seriously? Laurel Hubbard is a trans weightlifter from New Zealand who was allowed to enter the women's competition. He was lifting up and flexing his muscles so hard a beard popped out. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that? Does that make any sense? How many people agree with this? How many people can rationalize this right here? Shawshank on Twitch says, hello. What's up? Hello back and the sky. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, when readers posted comments challenging the scientific basis of this pro-trans propaganda, the BBC threatened to report them to the police for expressing hatred. What do y'all think about that? When readers posted comments challenging the scientific basis of this pro-trans propaganda, the BBC threatened to report them to police for expressing hatred. So here we go. We have the free speech pilgrims attempting to cancel free speech of their own. And then a bunch of black hands are pointing at Mark Dice. Now, BBC was acting as the cancel mob, but there was a bunch of black fingers pointing at Mark Dice. Anytime anything like this happens, it's going to always be followed by, but there was a bunch of black fingers pointing at Mark Dice from here on out until I croak. You know what I'm saying? This father just happened to delete his entire family, but a bunch of black fingers are pointing at Mark Dice. You know what I'm saying? Never forget, right? That's what they say. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the BBC style guide also says, in line with the trans lobby outlook, that journalists must use the pronouns preferred by the person in question. This is about much more than being polite. In practice, it can lead to distorted reporting. How do they do this with crimes? What happens how do you report a crime? Yeah, the Mark Dice stands. Yeah, from here on out, anytime anything happens, but there was black fingers pointing at Mark Dice. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, that's too funny. Man, them motherfuckers was caping for Mark Dice, man. That shit was so funny. He's a gentleman and a scholar, and if I ever hit my head too hard, I'd let him operate on my brain with no experience. That's because you're an idiot. There's all kinds of stuff that you didn't list that you would do. And the reason why you would do it is because you're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? You know? So notice how also when it comes to the Mark Dice trolls, I just keep going back to that because it's just so hilarious, man. You can just learn so much from people like that. None of those people could possibly learn anything from Torian's channel, right? Because there's nothing to learn. I mean, you know, it's not like you couldn't learn about black massacres or you couldn't learn about Sundown series or you couldn't learn about all the other people that commit crimes because, you know, we're the only people that commit crime. But us savages, us low IQ subhumans, we could learn all kinds of interesting things if we just listen to Mark Dice and engage in his comment section. Do you guys notice that? So when it comes to those kind of people, just understand that they always take the position that you're dumb and that they're smarter than you. And I mean, what's the point in having a conversation anyway if you're dealing with somebody that's taking a position like that? You know what I'm saying? So now here it says months after the BBC published the article about some lesbians allegedly being coerced into having sex with trans women, it revealed the news website had changed the gender role of one of the alleged sexual assailants. So now here we're getting into some problems. How do you report descriptions properly if we're doing this? The alleged victim had described her assailant using the male pronouns he and him. BBC editors had replaced these words with the natural terms they and them. One BBC insider told the Times that I can't think of any other situation where we would change the words of an alleged sex victim. BBC reports often reflect the casual assumption that the trans ideology, which influences its internal politics, must be shared by or anyway imposed on its audience. Last year, BBC was forced to backtrack after a presenter on Radio 4's Front Row program dismissed J.K. Rowling's gender critical views as very unpopular. A BBC journalist who wrote about this in The Spectator under a pseudonym to avoid retribution asked, unpopular where? Doncaster, Hull, Birmingham, or the counter of Cafe Nero outside New Broadcasting House. Senior BBC managers insist that they are holding the line. David Jordan, director of editorial policy and standards, told the House of Lords Communications and Digital Committee last year that some people saw identity issues such as gender or racial identity as trumping impartiality. So again, now you see towards the end, such as gender or racial identity as trumping impartiality. So remember, when it comes to dealing with conservatives or when it comes to dealing with anti-black racists, when it comes to dealing with white people, gender is always the segue for their race excuses. Gender is always the segue to the race excuses. It's a very dishonest tactic. And that is how you wrap all of the anti-blackness into woke that you do. So now here it says, yet he insisted that the BBC is committed to freedom of expression. We are committed to reflecting all viewpoints. Staff should leave their prejudices at the door. Okay. Outside New Broadcasting House stands a statue of George Orwell, who memorably warned against the evils of totalitarianism in his masterpiece of 1984, which I find fascinating because we already live in a world that's ran by totalitarianism. One group of people controls the entire world and controls the assets. But if other people begin to control assets, if other people begin to gain power, they see that their totalitarian regime that they have in place now will start to collapse. So what they have to do is they have to package the threat to their superiority and totalitarianism as an attack against the West. You know what I'm saying? And I agree. Gender and race are two totally different things. When it comes to a normal, honest person, they are. Right, Carla? When it comes to a normal, honest person, they are. But when you're dealing with PC and PC culture, terms are allowed to be swapped and intermingled as they fit the narrative. You know what I'm saying? So now that's how you see, and that's how you can get all this stuff wrapped up into woke. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the wall behind it is inscribed in his words. If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. There has never been a better time for BBC to take this message to the heart. So now I find that fascinating, right? Liberty is the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. So if I tell these people that you have a degenerate culture and you cause trauma everywhere on the planet you go, and you're sitting up here talking about separation when you integrated the European culture into the entire world, and now you're upset sitting up here claiming that somebody is replacing you. The definition of liberty, according to George Orwell, should be me being allowed to say that to anybody who participated in that institution or who benefited or who descended from that institution that I want to without restriction, right? But if I say that, I'm woke. Because while they sit there and talk about cancel culture, woke is how you cancel discussions that they're too cowardly to have. Just call it woke. They should come up with a quote unquote, let's call it woke talking point. Let's call it, let's not say woke. You see, Ron DeSantis, you know what I'm saying? He's already drawn the lines in the sand. I'm taking AP African American studies out of the schools. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get black people out of my voting district. Next thing I'm going to do is write a bill where police officers can issue headshots to black suspects on demand if I want them to. You know what I'm saying? That's DeSantis. That's most white conservatives. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the liberals that want to invoke their gender agenda on you. And if you don't accept their gender agenda, then they're calling you every kind of anti and every kind of phobic in the book. Yeah, I agree, Kath Jones. Fun. Yeah, very fun. You know what I'm saying? So, ladies and gentlemen, players and pimps, we've been live for 3 minutes. I'm sorry, 3 minutes, 3 hours and 43 minutes. Hang tight for about a minute and it'll take you into the next scheduled stream. Make sure you guys go in there, hit the bell icon. If you're not subscribed to the Crimecast channel, make sure that you guys hit the bell on the channel and subscribe. I appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to everybody that contributed to the stream. And I will catch each and every one of you on the next video. All right. Peace.